Yeah, you're drunk. You're drunk.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
All right, let's go, guys. Hit that like as people filter in. What do you say? What do you say we hop right into it? How's everybody doing? Welcome back for the late night edition of the Wednesday, September 3rd episodes of Blunt Politics. I'm Boston Brian. I appreciate you joining me. Thank you so much. Let's get the self-righteous, self-promotional bullshit out of the way to begin with. Up in the corner, you can hit me with a Venmo. Any amount counts. Any amount does the trick. I really appreciate the help. You can become a channel member just underneath me. For less than $3, you can become a member of the Patreon community at patreon.com/BostonBrian for as little as $5, and the rest of the bullshit with super stickers, super chats, milestones, memberships, all that other stuff. All of it is very much appreciated, and it is goes a long way in helping the channel. So without further ado, it's been a weird day. It has been a weird day. We've been talking about, and thank you again to Michael Fanone for joining us earlier. If you didn't catch my interview with Michael Fanone, go back and check it out after this broadcast. I would appreciate it. But we've been talking about, obviously, the Epstein drama that's been going on with the survivors holding their press conference. We'll be taking a look at the press conference. We'll be taking a look at a little clip of J.B. Pritzker and his, I don't know if it was his latest press conference, but one of his recent press conferences in which he, again, kind of laid down the law and kind of, gave it straight to Donald Trump. We'll also be talking about Donald Trump's illegal war on Venezuela, apparently, where he's just picking random boats out of the water at will. What else are we going to be talking about? Donald Trump once again calling the Epstein thing a hoax just after the victims held a press conference and, kind of laid bare what they know and what they want to see happen. Megyn Kelly spoke on the Epstein victims. We'll be taking a look at that. Let's see here. There was an NBC interview with the victims as well. And then there was a few other things that I wanted to get into as well that, like I said, the allegations that we talked about earlier, and also this one of the moments here. I'll bring it up and put it on stage for you guys here. Share screen. I believe it's this one for you guys, and then we'll do a little bit of this. How does that work? Is that good? There you go. And then this to kind of round it out at the end, if we hopefully have some time, where he's talking about basically the pressure he's been putting on Ukraine as opposed to Russia in this situation to try to get the deal done in order to get his fucking Nobel Peace Prize as fast as possible, because that's exactly what he's trying to do and all he cares about in this situation. But before we get into all of the craziness that happened today, the flyover that I believe was intentional to try to send a signal to the victims, I want to say thank you to the chat. I want to say thank you to all of the mods first and foremost. Thank you so much for your time and the energy in the bullshit that you put up with in the chat and all it takes to make sure that chat stays a safe place. So thank you to every single one of the mods, regardless what platform you're on. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. And that goes for everybody else. Tom, what's going on, my brother? Teresa, how are you? What's up, Dame? What's going on, Patui? Hi, Suzanne. How are you? Who else we got in the house? What's up, Linda Lou? What's up? You don't like my music? How are you, my brother? What up, B? What up, Z? What up, Otis? How are you? Hi, Allie. Hi, Roxanne. Hi, another Allie. Hi, another Allie. What up, guys? What up, Dad? How are you, my dad? Hi, Dad. How are you, my dude? Is what was supposed to come out the first time, but that didn't come out right. Noah Des, how's everybody doing? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Like I said, make sure you guys hit the like button on the way out. Share the stream. We're on our way to 15K. I would appreciate it if we could get there sooner rather than later. But what do you say we hop right into just a little bit of the nonsense that was going on today? We're going to hop right into, and again, this isn't the nonsense. This is the nonsense will follow. I guess we're going to do the important bit first, and obviously highlight this press conference that was done by the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, as well as Ro Khanna, Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene. As crazy as it is to be on the same side or same page or same line or whatever the hell you want to call it as Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, reality is flipped so far upside down, and up is down, left is right, short is tall in today's society that, that's where we find ourselves. But this was the Midas Touch Network's coverage of that. I want to take a look at a few moments, see how much we could get through of this. Like I said, there was also, do I have it pulled up? I'm not sure if I have it pulled up yet, but I have it in my emails. It was also, like I said, the NBC interview with the victims where they sat down. It was a more direct, intimate interview with them when they sat down in studio. We'll be debunking some of Trump's lies as he keeps telling, where he's ended several wars. Like I said, we'll be taking a look at Megyn Kelly. I forget who she was on with. Probably not important because they're both probably spewing bullshit. But I was curious as to what she had to say after hearing the testimony, or at least the firsthand accounts from some of the victims here. So what do you say we jump right into, I believe this is just after, I forget where I picked this up. I think it's just after one of the politicians spoke, but we'll pick it up here. I'll see if I can even just a little bit, probably right there will work. All right, there we go. Let's see how much we can get through this. I appreciate it. Hit that like button. Again, we're going to dive into the press conference here from Jeffrey Epstein's victims, Donald Trump's victims. And then we'll be diving into Trump's response pretty much as this was going on. And then we'll be diving into J.B. Pritzker's response to Donald Trump threatening to send the National Guard into Chicago. Then we'll be talking about Donald Trump's apparently new illegal war he's willing to start with Venezuela in order to distract people from the Epstein files, as well as many other things that we have to get to. So again, hit that like button. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. I appreciate every single one of you and the support that you guys show. So what do you say we get into this? Appreciate it.
Hi, good morning. My name is Brittany Henderson, and I think in addition to thanking the wonderful congressmen and women who are here today, we need to thank the women, and not just the women who are going to speak, but the other women who are standing behind them, along with other lawyers, Sigrid McCauley, and people who have been fighting for a very, very long time for the world.
Because I'm not sure how much we'll get through and if we'll listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene speak in this, but I just would like to draw attention to the fact that even Marjorie Taylor Greene was kind of amazed at the size of the press conference. She was making reference to, this being one of the larger press conferences she's been involved with since becoming a congresswoman. Again, not giving her flowers or praise, but it's funny to see just the split in MAGA. I mean, this is kind of the epitome of the split in MAGA when you got Marjorie Taylor Greene standing next to Ro Khanna to go and speak about something that Donald Trump is at the same time calling a hoax just a few hundred feet or a few hundred yards away. That just kind of shows you just how far this rift, the split has gone in MAGA and continues to get, because you'll hear, especially even when Thomas Massie, who we know isn't Donald Trump's best friend or anything, but still, he's no lib, he's no progressive, he's not part of the squad. I'll tell you that much. And even he is calling out how ridiculous and despicable it is to call this entire thing a hoax. And again, I don't want to divulge too much. We'll get into this. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Give this kind of attention to an issue that it should have had forever. This administration.
And thank you guys, everybody from Hal. I appreciate you guys. Tell Hal I said I appreciate it. Hope he had a great stream. He always does, so I'm sure he did. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the way in. I really appreciate it, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Instagram. Thank you so much. And like I said, shout out to Hal for me.
Has the opportunity to do what the past administrations did not do. This administration can either stand with the victims and stand for the victims, or it can continue to hurt the victims like has happened in the past. We aren't here just to ask for transparency, though. We're here too to ask for protection. The women here represent hundreds of other women who we have spoken to, many of whom were trafficked from other countries, from Eastern European.
And I apologize if it freezes. I think this is just a straight up live feed from outside of where they were doing it. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was it outside of the Capitol? Forgive me if I'm wrong on where the location of this was, but somewhere in DC, and it's just a live feed and it's just kind of going in and out. That's my apologies. It's nothing on my end either.
In countries where women don't have the rights that we have here. Women don't have the protections that we have here. And those women are terrified that their names will be released in these files. The government won't know that they're victims to redact and protect them. So we ask that you please, whoever is going to be in charge of redacting these files and in charge of this transparency, do it in a way that protects the women brave enough to be here.
This is on top of now hearing what I showed earlier when I was speaking to Michael Fanone here, where even with the 33,000 pages, excuse me, of bullshit that were released, and you'll hear Donald Trump reference this later in the show when we look at his clips, but it seemingly was like 97 or 98% of it was already publicly known and could be found on, many public domains, that it's already information that's been reported on and it's known. So again, they're trying to do this. And then you got people like Anna Paulina Luna, trying to come out, and we've heard that the White House is now running this pressure campaign against Republicans to try to get them to pressure them in order to not release the Epstein files. So at the same time as they're trying to commend themselves, pat themselves on the back for releasing 33,000 pages of information that the overwhelming majority, the vast majority of which we already know the information to, while at the same time trying to, again, slow down the actual releasing of the files that fucking are meaningful. So it's becoming more and more likely that we're going to have to rely on the victim's testimony. And I'm not sure why we don't already have a comprehensive list above and beyond what the little black book says, or above and beyond Ghislaine Maxwell's fucking list, just from all the testimony of the victims. Right, there should be plenty of names inside of testimony, inside of depositions, or inside of inside of lawyer. I don't know. I know you got lawyer privileges between you and the lawyer, but there must be a comprehensive list of a lot of names that have been said throughout the years by the victims that we can put together without having to rely on the DOJ, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongagino to release this shit, which it's becoming more and more likely that we're not going to get to see the full scale of the investigation, the full scale of the information, as long as Donald Trump fucking holds the office of the presidency. We're just not going to get it. They're going to try to do everything they possibly can to slow roll, slow walk, obfuscate, protect, defend, deflect, anything they possibly can to get you to stop talking about it. Because you can see here, the files appear to contain information already in public domain, while calls grow for the release of pertinent documents. Right? And then, you can go in and look up yourself how Anna Paulina Luna, if you want, I believe it was a Twitter post that she had, is talking about, oh, don't worry, it's not going to reach the floor. We don't have to worry about it. And then Thomas Massie comes out and says, no, that's because, the Trump regime is already running and starting their pressure campaign on Republican politicians to make sure that they fucking stonewall this at every turn. All right. Let's see if we can get back to the press conference. I just wanted to make sure that was clear, because I know on one hand you're hearing that, they are releasing this shit. The files have been released and, they're getting all this, but to slow your roll, fucking not so goddamn fast. Because let's take a look at the information. And what's funny here is, do you see any of the Bindergate motherfuckers? Huh? Do you see any of the people that were so supposedly concerned with child protection and child safety and getting down to the bottom of these answers? Do you see any of these fucking assholes that waltzed out of the White House with the big white binder with information that we already fucking knew, claiming that they had just solved the case? Are they anywhere to be seen at this press conference from the actual victims, giving you actual information, actual firsthand testimony? Because I don't see any of them. I don't see fucking Dick's a TikTok or whatever the fuck her name is. I don't see who are the other idiots? Name some of the other idiots in the chat, because there was a few of them, but I don't see any of them there. Funny enough. Thank you guys. I appreciate all you Hal Raiders. You guys are amazing. I appreciate that. And Hal, if you're in here, I apologize if I missed your comment. I appreciate you for sending anybody over. And thank you so much for everything that you're doing, brother. Appreciate you.
here, but also protects the women who are terrified that every day when they turn the TV on, something bad is going to happen to them in Ukraine, in Russia, in whatever country they live in, because no one is listening to them there. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And please protect these women while we seek transparency.
Oh, Jim, good call. Good call. See, there's so much to cover, and this is what happens. I get so wrapped up in trying to show you guys everything that happened as we end up inevitably leaving out some important things during the show, and I try my best not to do that. So, but yes, you're absolutely right. Moss, wait a minute. Did you say he skewered Dairy Queen Green in committee today? Who else was he talking to? Oh, Farage. That's who I was going to bring up earlier. Moskowitz, who, again, I've had serious problems and contentions with lately. Again, just showing that I have no problem giving people flowers who I have criticized in the past if they do something right. And I will just, in the same sense, criticize them again if I feel like they do something wrong again, right? But in this sense, because of my passion for, everything that's British and British politics and whatever, he absolutely laid into Farage, and so did Jamie Raskin. So hopefully we get time. Hopefully I leave time that we can check that out as well. Because, again, there's so much to cover and so much I want to get to. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Who knows? Maybe we'll stick around a little bit. All right, let's go.
Good morning. My name is Anushka DeGiorgio, and I stand before you today as a survivor of both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I want to thank Congressman Massey and Kana for their role in putting together this very, very important bill. Every day of this journey toward healing has come at a profound cost to my mental health. But I am here. I chose to come because this bill really matters. I speak today not only in service of my own recovery from trauma inflicted by Maxwell and Epstein, but to honor the lives, the courage and sacrifices of Virginia Giuffre, Caroline Andriano, and others who could not continue. Their voices matter. Somebody
asked who's yelling in the background. I can't be 100% certain, but I did see that one person was removed. Apparently, in Epstein denier, they called him. Looked like a real shady motherfucker with a 19, like an accountant suit from 1981. All he was missing was that like green visor with like the see-through green visor and a really long cigarette. But apparently he was removed for disrupting. Not 100% sure if that's who you're hearing in the background, but I do know that was a thing. So it's very possible that was the gentleman that we're talking about there.
Their stories must not be forgotten. Accountability is what makes a society civilized. Equal opportunity and equal consequence for all. Consequences are not about punishment alone. They exist to deter future harm, to protect vulnerable, and to set a standard of justice. If Ghislaine Maxwell were pardoned, it would undermine all the sacrifices I made.
And again, just as you're hearing this, remember what these women must be going through as they see Ghislaine Maxwell waltz into a fucking deposition, know she can bullshit and feed Donald Trump and Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, anything that she wants to get, free release or work release or transferred to another minimum security prison, which she's not supposed to fucking be at per the laws and regulations of the Bureau of Prisons, but somehow managed to get a special waiver in order to get that transfer done from Florida to Texas. Just imagine going through what these women had to have gone through already, right? Seeing these fucking monsters still walk free amongst us without a care in the world, without a fear of being fucking held to account because they know who's behind the helm right now. And then on top of that, seeing the treatment, the beneficial treatment that Ghislaine Maxwell, one of the perpetrators, if not the most monstrous perpetrator in this whole situation, being treated by our government, being treated by Trump's regime right now. And then, like I said, we'll hear Donald Trump's response to this press conference, and then we can see how Donald Trump's treating the victims themselves.
And make mockery of mine and all survivors suffering. That is why the Epstein Files Transparency Act is so essential.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. I'm not sure. Like I said, I wanted to watch this with you guys, and I also had the interview with Mike Fanone earlier. But yes, in case we don't get to that, since Helvetica Scenario was nice enough to point this out, as I spoke about earlier, there was a flyby that was 1,000 fucking % on purpose here. Okay. I know Donald Trump, we're used to hearing flybys because every property that he owns is near a piece of shit airport that loves to dump its jet fuel over his golf courses, which is why they're so cheap and undesirable. But apparently they scheduled a flyover at the exact moment of this press conference just to drown them out, just to send a signal from the U.S. government, from Donald Trump himself to these ladies, to make sure that they know who's really in charge, apparently. But thank you for pointing that out, just in case we don't get to it, because I'm not sure how long into the press conference it is. And I kind of want to, I know this is a very depressing story. It's important yet depressing. So I want to see if I can break these testimonies up just a little bit, and we'll go back and forth with some of these other stories that we're trying to cover, just to kind of break up the flow a little bit.
Justice released all the records related to Epstein and Maxwell investigations, flight logs, immunity deals, internal communications, and even the records surrounding Epstein's detention and death. And crucially, it forbids withholding documents simply because of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. This is about ending secrecy wherever abuse of power takes root. But transparency alone is not enough. Survivors need protection, resources, and legal support. If this Congress is serious about justice, then let this moment also affirm your commitment to provide victims with the legal aid they need to confront abusers, to navigate complex systems, and to reclaim their power. Transparency must be matched by support, or else too many victims will remain silent out of fear and lack of access. The statistics demand action. Nearly 1 in 5 women in America will experience rape or attempted rape in her lifetime. Every 74 seconds, someone is sexually assaulted. Every 9 minutes, that person is a child. These are not numbers. They are people. They are your daughters, your sons.
Now, if you look in the background, you'll probably notice everybody looking off to what is going to be their left-hand side, your right-hand side. I think this is probably at the moment in time where that gentleman was removed. I could be mistaken. Again, as you guys were pointing out in the chat earlier, there was somebody disrupting and trying to yell in the background, which I don't know how fucking disgusting a pig you have to be in order to try to do that at such a serious and important press conference. But apparently the guy was removed, and I'm just saying that's might be what's going on in the background if you guys are going to notice what they're looking at.
Your constituents, your friends. Statistically, 1 in 5 of your families will face this nightmare. The days of sweeping this under the rug are over. We, the survivors, say no more. I want to help create a world where survivors of sexual abuse and abuse of power can come forward safely. And I ask Congress to join me in that effort, not only by passing this bill, but by ensuring that those who step forward have legal support to face their abusers and see justice done. When Judge Berman gave Epstein survivors the chance
to... and just in case, my apologies for stopping it again, but just in case you're just joining us, this is a live feed from earlier, which is why you see the kind of the graininess in the picture every now and again. You'll also hear, again, some skirmish going on in the background, which I believe a heckler is being removed, if I'm not mistaken. So just in case you're just joining us, I appreciate you for doing so. Make sure you hit that like button. We're diving deep into the victims of Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump in the press conference that they had today with the members of the likes of Ro Khanna, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and others like Thomas Massie.
Finally speak. The world listened. After so many years, survivors were heard. That moment was historic, and so is this moment. For me, the turning point was when I had my daughter, and on the day she was born, I knew I had a responsibility to protect her and to protect all children. I have to use my voice, the voice that had been silenced by fear and shame for so many years. Make no mistake, my polished exterior is a shield hiding a wound that still bleeds. But through this wound, I have found purpose. To be part of lasting change in how we confront exploitation and abuse. And to be clear, the only motive for opposing this bill would be to conceal wrongdoing. You have a choice. Stand with the truth, or with the lies that have protected predators for decades. I am no longer weak. I am no longer powerless.
I'm sure you can hear in the background I don't know if it's National Guard, I don't know if it's Metro DC Police, instructing people to what sounds like get off the grass or get on the grass. I can't really hear what he's saying, but I'm not sure if that's protesters protesting this rally or what that is. But I don't know. It seems pretty rude to be using the loudspeaker, the megaphone, while one of the victims is speaking. Again, who knows? We could be getting protesters off for all I know, but here we go.
I'm no longer alone. And with your vote, neither will the next generation be. President Trump, you have so much influence and power in this situation. Please use that influence and power to help us, because we need it now and this country needs it now. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Annie Farmer, and I was 16 years old when I was flown to New Mexico to spend a weekend with Epstein and Maxwell. That same year, 1996, my sister, Maria Farmer, reported what happened to me there, along with reporting her own assaults at their hands and their theft of sensitive photos of herself, of me, and our younger sister that she had taken for her work as a figurative painter. I am now 46 years old. 30 years later, we still do not know why that report wasn't properly investigated, or why Epstein and his associates were allowed to harm hundreds, if not thousands, of other girls and young women. We have never been told whether those images were found when they discovered a large amount of child sexual abuse material on his property. As a psychologist, I understand that when the system's meant to protect us, recreate the abuse cycle, the betrayal that occurs can be just as damaging as the original trauma. This happens when survivors of these crimes are not believed, when our well-being is not weighed as heavily as those who have more resources or more privilege, and when perpetrators of these crimes are given a platform rather than the survivors of them. For so many years, it felt like Epstein's criminal behavior was an open secret, that many were aware of his interest in girls and very young women and chose to look the other way because it benefited them to do so.
Meanwhile, now the DOJ wants you and MAGA and everybody else to believe that this was a crime perpetrated by either nobody or by two people involving hundreds, if not thousands of victims, and you know, if not as many but more fucking perpetrators. But nobody else was involved. Nobody was involved, or it was all a hoax. That's what the DOJ wants you to believe. And I don't know, you know, it's tough for me to sit here and I'm looking at Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it's like, how can she possibly sit there and on one hand know that it's the person that she fought so hard to elect and get in power and fucking still fights behind so much, that is the one person that is not allowing the release of these files, that is the one person continuously telling people to look the other way, and telling his DOJ to black his name out in any of the pages, right? It's fucking nuts that she can sit there and, you know, pretend, and she's showing this, oh, you know, heartbroken face, right? And on the other hand, she's going to go back and say, oh, yep, fucking, I'm still MAGA, Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. And it makes absolutely fucking no sense whatsoever. You know, she's still trying to make it out like there's some deep state player behind the scenes that is not Donald Trump. That is the reason why these files won't come out. When she could clearly just say, you know, it is the gentleman it's the guy that I voted for. It's the guy that I put in office and continue to support. That is the one man that has the power, the ability, and also on the flip side, the reason to not want to release these files.
They wanted access to his circle and his money. Their choice to align with his power left those of us who had been harmed by this man and his associates feeling very isolated. I could never have imagined being here today and this chorus of support that we have all received. I have been sent so many notes and messages from people with no direct connection to this case who've expressed their solidarity with us.
And just before we go on, does anybody have any timestamps just in case we're not able to get through this whole thing of the flybys? I just want to obviously make a point to show you that was absolutely not only purposeful but meaningful. And thank you, Wes. Appreciate you, dude. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that very much. I'm just curious. Does anybody have any timestamps on I guess it would have to be on the Midas Live, just let me know in there. I'll let it keep playing. I'll keep looking.
I believe that is because, in part, as Anushka explained so well, this is an extremely widespread issue of child sexual abuse, of sexual exploitation, of sexual violence. This affects almost every family in some way. From my conversations with women in these last...
But it's literally the sounds of a police state, right? The sounds of a police state, the constant yearning and moaning through a fucking megaphone, right? I mean, you could just picture that megaphone up on some wooden fucking stick in the middle of some camp or in the middle of some Soviet, desolate Soviet town or some fucking North Korean village or Chinese village with just constant instructions being drawn over and over and over and over, right? It's just, you can fucking, that's literally what we're becoming. Like, you can hear it in like the sounds and the sights of seeing, huge armored personnel carriers and fucking, what are usually vehicle used at a time of war, roaming around the streets of DC and possibly Chicago and Baltimore and fucking who knows what other cities. Basically every city besides the dangerous cities and the murderous, the cities known for murder rates that are typically located inside of red states, right?
Few days, and from all of the support that we've received, is very clear to me that we are not going away, we are not going to be quiet, and we are not going to give up. And I ask the American public to stand with us and not give up. At a time with record high levels of distrust in our institutions and a perception that there are two Americas, one for those with power and privilege, and one for everyone else, passing this Epstein transparency bill is one important step that can be taken to prove to Americans that the government does not side with sexual perpetrators. A thorough public review of this information is an important step in preventing the type of systemic failures that have occurred in this case and harmed all of us. An important step towards healing for those involved. Thank you.
Amen.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to say thank you, everyone, for being here today on this very powerful and special day for all of us here. My name is Marina Lacerda. I was minor victim 1 in federal indictment of Jeffrey Epstein in New York in 2019. I was one of dozens of girls that I personally know who were forced into Jeffrey's mansion on 9 East 71 Street in New York City when we were just kids. Today is the first time that I ever speak publicly about what happened to me.
And that's another thing, too. I mean, even in the NBC interview in the first few minutes that I watched, I mean, they say right off the bat, this is the first time that a lot of these women have ever either spoken publicly or have met in person with one another or have gotten in a group like this to do anything like this, right? And you got to fucking, I mean, I, as a male right off the bat, can't even fathom the strength that it would take to not only speak up, but to stand up in front of microphones and stand up in front of cameras and in front of politicians and on NBC for the first time. And, knowing the heat, knowing the ire, knowing the backlash and the ramifications that could fucking bring or, is pretty certain to bring to your life. I just like you guys have said, I applaud these women more than I could possibly show on this single show, and just have so much respect for their ability to want to see justice so bad that they're willing to put themselves in harm's way again, in the line of fire again. Or some of them for the first time who have, enjoyed, anonymity from this situation, but have now are willing to give that up in hopes of bringing more of a spotlight onto this. So, fucking good on them. I'm not going to say, fucking congratulations to them for being able to speak out and, raising awareness on this level. So, I'm struggling to find the right words to put this all together because it is such a serious down and depressing moment. I don't want to bring light to it, but I think you guys can understand where I'm trying to go with this.
Thought that I would find myself here. The only reason that I am here is because it feels like the people who matter in this country finally care about what we have to say. As an immigrant from Brazil, I feel empowered knowing that the little girl struggling to get by at 14 and 15 years old finally has a voice. For the first time, I feel like I matter as an American. I was only 14 years old when I met Jeffrey. It was the summer of high school. I was working 3 jobs to try to support my mom and my sister when a friend of mine in the neighborhood told me that I could make $300 to give another guy a massage. It went from a dream job to the worst nightmare. Jeffrey assistant Leslie Groff would call me and tell me that I needed to be at the house so often that I ended up dropping out of high school before 9th grade. And I never went back. From 14 to 17.
9th grade. Before 9th grade, ladies and gentlemen. I want to make this very fucking clear. Like the ages that we're talking about and the disgusting nature in which they were preyed upon by these fucking predators that are still, again, roaming our streets free and clear from the fear of being held to account because, again, they know Donald Trump has just as much, if not more involvement than anybody else and has the most power and the best ability to keep this shit hidden if he so chooses to tell his DOJ and FBI to keep doing it.
15 years old, I went and worked for Jeffrey instead of receiving an education. Every day I hoped that he would offer me a real job as one of his assistants or something important. I would finally have made it big, as, like we say, the American dream. That day never came. I had no way out. I was, until he finally told me that I was too old. There are many pieces of my story that I can't remember, no matter how hard I try. The constant state of wonder causes me so much fear and so much confusion. My therapist says that my brain is just trying to protect itself, but it's so hard to begin to heal knowing that there are people out there who know more about my abuse than I do. The worst part is that the government is still in possession right now of the documents and information about that could help me remember and get over all of this maybe and help me heal. They have documents with my name.
Just think about the fucking closure that these women deserve too. 526, Brian? What's 526? 526. Oh, is that the flyover? 526. So somebody said there was 2 of them, right? So I know that Tiff gave me the first one. I'll check that out. Peter, I appreciate you, dude.
Them that were confiscated from Jeffrey Epstein's house and could help me put the pieces of my own life back together.
Oh, sorry. What I was saying, closure for these women. Just think about how deserving these women are for closure, especially after all of this and how none of this needed to happen this way. But unfortunately, that's just the way the fucking the cookie crumbled, and now this is the avenue that we've been left, the only avenue we've been left to take in order to get the answers that are that we deserve to have, and that these women, the closure that these women deserve to have.
But I don't have any of it, and I know the same is true for many of these women. We are here to support this bill today, not only for transparency, but for the American people. But
Maggie says the excuse for the flyover is the Polish president. All right, so, and he did meet, like I said, with the clip that I'll show you. No worries, Tiff, I got you. But the clip that I'm going to show you, he was meeting with the Polish president. So plausible. Don't know if the timelines match up. Somebody, I'm sure, will have to do the investigative reporting, the investigative digging to find out just when the Polish president landed, when this flight went over. I'm sure somebody's already on that. But, it's plausible because obviously the president was here. But thank you. I appreciate you, Maggie, for at least bringing that to light, because I haven't heard any excuse yet. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
If the government is going to release these documents to the public, describing the crimes committed by Jeffrey Epstein and others, the least they can do is give me my documents that they have about me. The other survivors deserve the same respect from our government. While identifying information must be redacted to the public, it is equally important to provide the victims themselves with unredacted information. I will never forget when the FBI agent showed up in my door in 2008. Jeffrey Epstein hired a lawyer to represent me, or more like to represent him, I'd like to say. I couldn't ask any questions, and I had no idea what was going on. I was terrified. Until today, I think most of us are still terrified. I thought somebody was going to kill me. I thought something was going to happen to my sister or my mother. It went further out to even maybe thinking something would happen in Brazil with my family. And then one day, the lawyer said that everything was just going to go away. Like nothing happened. I didn't need to testify. When I asked him why, he gave no explanation. That was it. So why? Why was I never called to testify then? We could have saved so many women. We could have saved so many lives from being abused. Why did he get away with it in 2008? Why was he able to go on in the abuse with hundreds of girls after the Florida investigation? Why didn't they let me testify to help stop him? Our government could have saved so many women, but Jeffrey Epstein was too important and those women didn't matter. Why? Well, we matter now. We are here today and we are speaking and we are not going to stop speaking. Today, I stand here with the women who have really helped me to find the strength to come out and come forward to share my story for the very first time. Together, we are stronger than ever. While she may not be with us, Virginia Roberts, we will continue to use our voices to strengthen yours always. Thank you.
All right, and so just to kind of, like I said, just to break this up just a little bit, because I know it's heartbreaking. It's you know, it tears at your heartstrings, or you know, if you have a soul and a heart inside of your chest cavity somewhere, it should at least. So I just kind of want to show you this because this was the response that was given when Donald Trump was questioned about the press conference as he was meeting with the Polish president. It was either just after or simultaneously going on. So I just want to play this just to show you the abject disgust and fucking utter contempt that Donald Trump has for not only the victims here, but also his own fucking followers and his own fans, to continuously think that they're going to believe, even after hearing this like heartbreaking testimony from the firsthand accounts of these victims, that this is all just a Democrat hoax. Now listen to this bullshit. It's just a quick clip. Not going to subject you to much. I apologize.
We are watching a bipartisan group of lawmakers, along with some Jeffrey Epstein victims and their attorneys, pushing for transparency on Capitol Hill. One by one, these survivors detailed meeting Jeffrey Epstein at a young age, being abused, being coerced to return, and then feeling victimized again by the justice system's investigations of Epstein. We heard the central witness in the case against Epstein, Marina Lacerda, saying she has a hard time remembering everything that happened to her, and that there are people out there and even documents in the government's possession with her name on it that could help her put these pieces together. These women are now calling for support for the Epstein Files Transparency Act. And as they are speaking on Capitol Hill, the President Trump right now is meeting with the president of Poland. And in that meeting, he has been asked about the Jeffrey Epstein case. Let's listen to his response.
Documents says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends acting them and slow.
And just in case you can't hear the question being asked, the question is, you know, is this being done because of your rich donors and people, you know, who have donated to your campaign? Are you are you telling the DOJ basically to kind of protect these people?
Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir? So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave them everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now, D.C., it's a totally safe zone. It's called a safe zone. That's a term. It's a term of art.
A term of art? Literally just making up shit as he fucking shits his pants in front of the Polish president, who, ironically enough, was elected while I was in Poland. The elections and the campaign. Oh, thank you, Tobias. Thank you so much, Tobias. I appreciate that, brother. I really do. That's huge. That's huge. Thank you so much for that $20 super sticker. You too can contribute just like Tobias, the same way that he did via super sticker on YouTube. You can become a channel member for as little as $2.99, or you can send a Venmo, 50 cents for all I care. Any little bit goes a long way to help. And believe me, we need the help. So thank you, Tobias. And this is just, I mean, it's getting more ridiculous. And again, as we go into covering the Venezuelan strike, or the strike on the Venezuelan drug boat, and some of the articles that have come out, a couple months prior, talking about how Venezuela has uncovered some sort of scheme where, the Trump administration has been kind of trying to figure out a way in which they can go to war with Venezuela and kind of pull, some sort of hoax or some false fucking story that they can use as justification, similar to the way that the Nazis did when they invaded Poland and they try to dress up a bunch of their own people as Polish military officers and made it seem like they stormed the radio station and took over the radio station, when in turn it was all just a complete and total fabrication used so they could justify the invasion of Poland. This could be something similar, but again, this goes on, and we'll continue to debunk what he says here.
It's a safe zone because it's very safe. You can walk down the street now and nothing's going to happen. No crime, no murders, no nothing. Because we have.
Can you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Donald Trump can now guarantee your safety in Washington, D.C. So apparently, if you or anybody else is to get harmed in Washington, D.C., you have a lawsuit that you can file against the President of the United States because he's here guaranteeing your safety. Again, not talking about the Epstein files or the victims that were speaking, Mir. And look at how shitty he looks. Look at his hair is all like matted and looks like it's like oily, like he hasn't showered in a couple days. It's all fucking like slicked back in the wrong ways. Like, what is going on here? Like, what is this? And then you got this in the back. Like, it ain't looking good. Looks like the fucking struggle bus has got a flat on it.
With certain places, and we still do, all run by Democrats, or for the most part run by Democrats. So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success, like ending 7 wars. Sure. I ended 7 wars.
So this is a dictator, right? Make no fucking mistake about it. This is a dictator telling you that not only you, but also the media isn't allowed to speak about anything other than what he calls his accomplishments, or what he views as his accomplishments, right? And you just heard him there. And again, just in hopes of breaking up the heartbreaking and heart-wrenching testimony from the Epstein victims, I wanted to put this on the screen as well, because you just heard him say it. You've heard him say it a bunch of times. I've ended 7 wars, 6 wars, 10 wars, 12 wars. Oh, fucking thank you, JD. Let's fucking go, brother. Let's fucking go. I appreciate you, man. Always there to contribute, always chipping in. I appreciate you, dude. Really, from the bottom of my heart, I do. All right, so why don't we fucking once and for all dive into this bullshit talking point that is bullshit, I know is bullshit, but apparently the media doesn't and is unwilling to call out to the point where Donald Trump is unwilling or unable to use this as a talking point anymore. So why do you say we just dive into, just real quick, we'll brush over this. We won't go through the whole thing, but it goes on to say in recent weeks, he's made the repeated claim that he's ended 6 or 7 wars. It goes on to give his quotes here about settling those wars. We've heard them all before. We don't have to go through that. It also talks about his push for the Nobel Peace Prize, which goes hand in hand again with him trying to say that he ended 7 wars. But let's just take a look at this. Let's just take a look, shall we? All right. Let's just dive into a couple of them. Israel and Iran, one of them that he says he ended. All right. You don't even have to read anything else. We'll just jump to the bottom line in a lot of these, okay? But other foreign policy experts say tensions between the nations are far from resolved, and Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell said in early July that the Defense Department estimated that U.S. strikes likely delayed Iran's nuclear program by 1 or 2 years, okay? So the media was originally reporting just a few months, right? Now, if you have the Trump regime themselves only saying 1 or 2 years, it's looking more and more like the 1 or 2 months report is true. Because they know they can't say forever obliterated like Donald Trump would love to have you believe, because you already had Sean Parnell say it was only 1 to 2 years. But this says, I very strongly disagree with the notion that the president has brought peace to Iran and Israel. We may be in a quiet period in terms of direct confrontation, but Iran right now is trying to regroup. Okay, so that's one. He's 0 for 1. He's 0 for 1. You might think, like you said, we might be in a little dry spell right now as it goes with like people shooting each other in the face. And even that's probably a stretch to say. But right now, Donald Trump has yet to fucking bring a long-lasting resolution to one of the wars they're talking about. So he's 0 for 1. Okay, now we'll go to Rwanda and the Congo, okay? So let's see here. We don't even have to talk about anything. We'll just say, what's the last line? It is a premature declaration of success when, in fact, we are just getting to the starting line, O'Hanlon said. O'Hanlon is, let's see if it says who O'Hanlon is. Congo's reversed, yet the violence and Human Rights Watch reported in a group of back to Rwanda killed over 100%. It doesn't say who. Doesn't say who that is, but I'm just saying you can tell it's being disputed as to whether or not he ended that war. So that's 0 for 2. Let's go to Armenia and Azerbaijan. Okay, but the deal is last sentence here, last paragraph. But the deal is not a formal peace agreement and requires ratification. One remaining sticking point is the Azerbaijan wants Armenia to remove any mention of territorial claims to Azerbaijan's land from its constitution before officials sign a final deal. Does that sounds like something that, that's going to happen right away? Armenia's prime minister has expressed willingness to change the constitution, but has not specified a date for a referendum, right? So that hasn't been fully taken care of. So he's 0 for 3. Thailand and Cambodia, maybe he's got a shot here. The border dispute is continuing, though, with Thai officials accusing Cambodia of laying new landmines. Cambodia denied doing so. Okay, so that's not settled yet because apparently the other side is accusing the other of laying continuous landmines. Let's see, maybe India and Pakistan. Maybe he can go 1 for 5 here. Let's see here. There is no real ending to this conflict, end quote, he said, noting that the future negotiations could be complicated by Mr. Trump's decision to impose steep tariffs on India, a key partner. So another one in which a very fucking prominent and educated and knowledgeable fellow says that Donald Trump has and put no real end in sight, no conflict, no end to this conflict. Okay, so he's 0 for 5. What about Egypt and Ethiopia? Let's see here. No deals have been announced. However, Ethiopia still plans to officially open its dam in September over Egypt's objections that it will restrict water flow from flow of water to its country. And while Egypt previously threatened to go to war over the dam, this conflict has remained a diplomatic one. Okay, so still, that one's not resolved. One's still going ahead with the project that the other side said that they would go to war in order to defend. I would not call the Egypt-Ethiopia interaction a war, but it's still not served. Okay, maybe Serbia maybe he can go 1 for fucking 7. Maybe. His deal making to the extent that it existed actually occurred in his first term, and he really hasn't stopped what's going on. Not a fucking single one of them. Not a single one of these conflicts have come to a long-lasting peace resolution where both sides sat down, shook hands, and they have fucking security guarantees and peace agreements going into the future. None of them have even stopped shooting at each other. They're still fucking, one of them, what was I reading? One of them I was reading, they was like, no, they're still fucking shooting at each other. Hold on, let me see. Let's see. I'll go to the first one. Iran, Israel, handling booking Trump with ceasefire, managed a good relationship, but willingness to put pressure on Netanyahu contribute. No, it's not that one. Let's see. Oh yeah, here it is. The deal aimed to end 3 decades of fighting over Congo's mineral reserves, yet the violence has continued. Both sides accusing other of violating peace terms. Human Rights Watch reported that M23, an armed group that U.S. officials believe is backed by Rwanda, killed over 140 civilians in eastern Congo in July. Does that sound like it's been resolved? Does that sound like a peaceful resolution to the conflict brought about by Donald Trump? No. So again, every time you hear it, it's bullshit. I know it's bullshit. But let's try to make it so more people understand that this is bullshit, so we can knock that off of the plate of talking points that he fucking feeds from. All right, let's get back to this.
Hi, my name's Courtney Wild. I just wanted to take a second and just have a moment of silence for all the women survivors that aren't here with us today, that passed away due to anxiety, depression, trying to keep up with this case. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. My name is Courtney Wild. I was only 14 years old when I was introduced to Jeffrey Epstein by a 13-year-old friend of mine. The details of
I can't. I don't know. I don't know. I know you're gonna be like, why the fuck are people cheering in the background? And I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what the fuck could possibly be taking place close enough to this ridiculously important and depressing press conference that requires a fucking cheer that loud while some of the victims are speaking. I don't know.
the abuse that he inflicted on me for years is not important today. In 2028, I was cooperating with the federal government in the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. They sent me a letter telling me to be patient because this was going to be a lengthy investigation, but at the same time, they refused to talk to me and tell me what was going on. So I hired an attorney, Brad Edwards, because I was hopeful to get some answers. When I walked into his office at 19 years old, Brad sued the government for refusing to tell me what was going on under the Crime Victims' Rights Act. The only reason anyone ever found out that the government had already given Jeffrey Epstein immunity through the non-prosecution agreement was because our lawsuit forced the government to tell us.
And, just so I know you guys, a lot of you guys are saying that this is making, you emotional. And I'm sorry that that's happening, especially those of you who have been through, assaults in your past. I do apologize. But, you're not the only one. There was other politicians and people that were, privy that heard these stories and, also came out emotional. I was looking here at, just throw this on the screen. I won't highlight it too much, but this is Nancy Mace here where you can see my, where you can see my mouse here, obviously. And this is her coming out, or you can see it better off in the right-hand side of your screen. But this is her coming out clearly emotional. Somebody who is a an alleged victim of assault herself in her past. So you can tell it definitely invoked emotions with these people. And I hope it brought to terms just how monstrous the people that they're supporting really are. And thank you, Jay Steinheimer. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate that. I hope when she's walking out of here, she's thinking, wow, the only reason that this information had to come out or I'm having to even hear this information like this is because the man that I voted for, the fucking asshole, the degenerate, corrupt piece of shit that I voted for, is now the only person in charge of making sure that this information doesn't come out, or it's as difficult as possible and it takes as long as possible for this information to come out. But you can see here, just above my head, Nancy Mace's reaction coming out of here. And I know some of you have referenced it, and I was just looking because I know a lot of you are bringing up the emotions brought up by all of this. But, you can see I just want to make sure you're not alone in it. So hold on, let me put this back on the screen and we'll go from here.
Otherwise, nobody would even know that today. Sometimes it's hard to believe that I had to sue the United States just to learn that my abuser was given immunity. I started as Jane Doe, but I decided I was proud enough to take on our country, and I was on the right side of history. We fought the government for 10 years to prove that the government violated our rights as crime victims and the crime victims' rights in order to protect a pedophile. We had to win the 11th Circuit Court appeals to force the government to turn over thousands of pages of emails between Jeffrey Epstein and the government. Those emails provided the proof that the government worked very hard with Jeffrey Epstein to violate our rights. Why? Why did the government work so hard to protect Jeffrey and not so hard to protect me and my other innocent friends? Why was Jeffrey so important to the government, and why was I so insignificant? Why did nobody but our lawyers care before now? It seems people have only started to care because of Twitter and politics. But I would like to say this has nothing to do with politics. This is not a blue thing or a red thing. This is an everyone thing. We can all agree on this. The injustice that has happened here, multiple, over and over. Everybody that talks about this just seems to make it worse. We need transparency. It's time for us to see beyond the curtain. Why was Jeffrey Epstein so protected? Who is still being protected, and who protected them all, so the world can understand how Jeffrey was able to abuse so many of us for so long.
And I apologize, and I hope this isn't too disrespectful, but I only have a limited amount of time in my show, but I'm going to skip ahead. I do want to highlight the times in which, Donald Trump seemingly had a flyover interrupt this interview. I'll start it just a few minutes before. I apologize. I don't mean to skip anybody's testimony. It is all very important and should be heard if you have the time to do so. Unfortunately, I only have a certain amount of time, and I have to pick and choose my battles and what I can cover. But again, I want to highlight and make sure that you guys know that I know that all of this is as important as the last word. One word is as important as the other. So I want to make sure that that's clear. But I think it's around the 1 hour mark that the flyover happened. So I'll catch it just a little bit before that, and then you guys can be the judge of whether or not you think this was purposefully done in order to send a message to these women.
This is real trauma.
What does it feel like emotionally to hear that?
Devastating.
It's being gutted from the inside out. Not that I would know what that feels like, but I imagine it's the anxiety buildup with the depression and the survival mode, and then your nervous system goes limp and ironically is shot, and it feels like you just want to explode inside because nobody again is understanding that this is a.
So there were 3 flybys total. Stacy said there's 3 total, and then Tiff says that there's 2 more after that. I thought there was only 2. Right. So a clear fucking message being sent here.
Real situation. These women are real. We're here in person. To say that it's a hoax is just not. Please humanize us. I would like Donald J. Trump and every person in America and around the world to humanize us, to see us for who we are and to hear us for what we have to say. There is no hoax. The abuse was real. Now, what goes on behind closed doors, I can't speak for that. What happens around the world politically, I cannot speak for that. But I am here with all of these women, including our attorneys, and I would be more than happy to meet with him, and I will meet him halfway.
I wonder if any of the victims could respond to the news from recently about Ghislaine Maxwell being transferred to a lower security prison. And that one.
About her transfer.
So the question being asked right now is how the victims feel about Ghislaine Maxwell's being transferred to an even more minimum security prison.
Oh, yeah. I'm happy to speak to that. We were horrified to learn that she had been transferred to a prison camp. She is someone who was found guilty by a jury of sex trafficking. She not only, we often hear that she procured women for Jeffrey, which I think is a very sort of polite and minimizing term. She also participated in abuse. She was a major architect of the scheme. And the fact that she's painted herself as a victim, I think is disgusting. And it was horrifying, I think, to us that we were not told about her prison transfer. We found out about it in the news. 1 minute, I think Anushka maybe.
So, Anushka DeGiorgio, I testified alongside Annie at the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell. I was horrified when
I think
found
you can
out.
hear the plane starting to come in the background. And yeah, just in case anybody's just joining us or didn't catch this earlier today, this was a press conference given by some of Jeffrey Epstein's victims, really brave, coming put together, or at least led by people like Ro Khanna, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Massey. But right now we're trying to highlight or show everybody the points, 3 points in which, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, and again in the chat, at which planes flew over this press conference, which seemed like a pretty deliberate act in order to disrupt, in order to muddle, in order to, again, send a message to these women, of who's really in charge. But again, nothing's confirmed along that. We all have our beliefs as to why it happened. But I just want to see if we can catch one of the moments where that happened here.
Not only had Ghislaine Maxwell been transferred to what's called a low security, it's really is like a holiday camp, and then afterwards I got a notification from the Department of Justice telling me that this was going to happen when it had already happened. This woman abused children.
Now you tell me. And I know one of them, I'm not sure if, I was shown something that was, yesterday it was put out that there would be a flyover, but I don't know if it said it was going to be 3. I don't know if they said it was going to be fucking 3. And it's just a pure coincidence, apparently, that they just happened to disrupt Jeffrey Epstein's victims while they're speaking at a press conference in Washington, D.C. I mean, that was fucking, not only did it seem like it was low, but again, I don't know what kind of plane it was, but it seemed to me like it was something a little bit lower and smaller than, say, like a commercial airline. Right? That sounds awfully fucking low to me. Let's hear it one more time. Ready?
Holiday camp, and then afterwards I got a notification from the Department of Justice telling me that this was going to happen when it had already happened. This woman abused children.
I mean, I grew up, right? The town that I grew up in is in the direct flight path. Thank you so much, fucking Carl. Let's go, brother. 18 months. I appreciate you. Thank you, brother. Was in the direct flight path of Logan Airport, right? So we could look out. I used to look out of my fucking front porch in the house I grew up in, and you could see sometimes planes lined up as far as the eye could see into the horizon. You could see the lights in the sky, one after another lined up, right? And every type of plane that you could think of, fucking big, small, 4-engine, 2-engine, prop planes, all of it. To the point where we used to have people in my town that were fighting fucking tooth and nail for years to try to get the fucking planes rerouted out to sea so we didn't have to hear them or whatever. I know, I loved it. I always loved it. Either never heard them after so long living there, you tune them out, or it was an enjoyment to see the fucking plane fly over that close. My dad and I used to go out in his boat and would sit at the end of the pier at Logan Airport, and the plane would look like it's fucking coming and landing right on your boat, and it's one of the coolest things that you could possibly imagine, and that would always remind me of that. So I never had a problem with it. But it doesn't sound like this. I mean, unless one of these microphones from one of these fucking cameras is directly inside the Pratt & Whitney jet or the fucking Rolls-Royce engine, I'd say that was a low flyby, right? Definitely a lot lower. You can see the way that everybody's head snaps back. Look at it. I'll do it one more time. You can see every way everybody's head snaps back and looking at it, right? Check this out.
And then afterwards, I got a notification from the Department of Justice telling me that this was going to happen when it had already happened.
Watch everybody's head where it's like, shit, that's something we should probably look at. If it's just a normal plane, especially in the D.C. area, if a plane were to fly over the town that I used to live in, nobody would bat an eye, right? Unless you weren't from that area, and unless you haven't seen anything like that before, nobody would bat an eye or turn your head or anything like that. And they would be they're loud and close, believe me. But not too many people would be like, whoa, just because another plane flew overhead. So you can clearly tell that this is something out of character, out of the ordinary, at least for these people.
This woman was children. I was abused by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for over 10 years. Ghislaine Maxwell was present for some of my abuse at the hand of Jeffrey Epstein. She was present, she was complicit, she was enabling, and it is appalling and disgusting. And it's one of my worst nightmares that she not only be transferred, but at the possibility that's very much going around that she.
Yeah, Stacey, I was asking for the timestamps earlier. Like I said, I don't have time to play the entire press conference to cover the whole thing. That would take me much more than the 2 hours of the show by itself. But that's why I kind of skipped forward to that one, because I really wanted to highlight and show you guys just what kind of flyover it was. I know when you hear it, you might not understand what kind of disruption it was. But, I mean, that was pretty clearly a message being sent, especially when it happens 2 more times after that.
Might be pardoned. This is not okay, guys. This is not okay.
And I just want to add that I think it sends a very dangerous message to our country, to the young people in our country, that someone that we all know is aware of these crimes could be given a pass.
And just for the last survivor, just the last survivor, just she said that Epstein would brag about her relationship with Donald Trump. Could you please elaborate on that?
Can anybody get to the microphones? Get close. Yeah, I did say that.
Now that
my
one,
first trip.
That sounded more like a plane at normal level at what it would sound like, right? But you would have to think, and not to give them an out or any excuse or anything like that. It definitely seems like even if it was the president of Poland, who knows who scheduled it, and if they knew this was going on and they just happened to schedule him to come in and arrive at the same time. But typically, when the presidents are flying, they don't just fly with their plane. There's typically either multiple airplanes, multiple aircraft. There's also probably fighter jets guiding them through certain airspace. So it could very well be, and again, this doesn't bring any nefarious intention out of the realm, right? It could still be the Polish president, but it could also have been done intentionally at this time to send a message, to interrupt, right? So just here, bear me out. Could have been the fighters at first that went by that were escorting the president's plane, the president of Poland's plane, followed by what was either the president of Poland's plane or the first of one of the planes used by the president. You know what I'm saying? Does that kind of make sense, where they're so close together and it's multiple planes coming in? So a military flyover. No, but it's the president of Poland coming in. I'm saying if. This is a big if. And again, this takes away no nefarious intent. Doesn't give them a break. It could very well have been scheduled knowing that this press conference was going to be taking place and the disruption it would cause, right? So again, this isn't giving them a pass or anything. But let's just put our heads together. If it was the president of Poland, typically it's going to be guided by some jets. Typically, those are going to fly ahead when it's coming into land. And then you'll have the plane or the two planes or the helicopter or whatever the hell they're traveling in, right? Let's see. White House says it was meant to honor a Polish fighter pilot. Okay. All right. So again, could very well be the truth, but could very well have been done for nefarious means. Right? I don't know. I thought it was a pertinent part of this where, it seemed like they used the power that they had to use that power in order to send a signal to these women that were trying to give their testimony. That's why. We'll continue though.
Palm Beach residents. I drove there from the airport with Ghislaine Maxwell, and Jeffrey and Ghislaine were always very boastful about their friends, their famous or powerful friends, and his biggest brag forever was that he was very good friends with Donald Trump. He had an 8x10 framed picture of him on his desk with the two of them. Like, they were very close.
They were very close. 8x10 picture of him on his desk. How many 8x10s do you have on your desk of people that you're not close with, ladies and gentlemen? How many people have you ever gone into their office and they have 8x10s all over their office of people that they're not close with? How many criminal, pedophiles, disgusting, corrupt individuals do you have either on your desk or do your friends or family have on their desk in 8x10 framed photos? Because I don't have any. I got Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I got Barack Obama. I got Bob Marley. We got Volodymyr Zelensky, David Bowie, Tupac. A bunch of other prolific rappers and some other, Wonder Woman. But I don't have any pedophiles or prolific criminals that are known for disgusting acts and 8x10s on my desk. That's for goddamn sure. That's for goddamn sure. Which again leads us to this. Remember this that we were talking about today? This was the PBS article from 2019 depicting, I think, was it 16 here? Yeah, 16 women have come forward with allegations against President Donald Trump, each accusing him of inappropriate conduct. The most recent from writer and columnist E. Jean Carroll appeared in New York Magazine on Friday. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is completely above and beyond the Epstein. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, they did include her. Okay, I was going to say I thought this was completely above and beyond the Epstein investigation, but it is not. I retract that statement. It is also included in that one. So, but this is just, again, to highlight how long we've known about this. Again, the implications of not only what we know, how many people have, accused him of crimes in the past. Again, it makes it easier to, look at this one-to-one and be like, yep, pretty clear that he's hiding some fucking serious shit, right? Especially if he's willing to go this far. Especially if he's willing to go this far. Let me see here. We'll play this real quick again. U.S. military strikes Venezuelan drug boat in Caribbean, killing 11 people. 11 people. And again, I have all the hopes in the world that we can stop the fentanyl coming across the border. We can stop the drugs that are mainly trafficked by U.S. citizens because they're typically and mostly coming through ports of entry. That we've known that's basically the biggest problem area. You know, the ports that have all the police officers and dogs and fucking cameras and computers and all that shit. Yes, that's where the most amount of drugs, illegal fucking weapons and people come through across the borders. Not so much the vast open areas and the expanse that Donald Trump used and spent the money to build a useless wall on. No, it's the ports and the ports of entry. But again, this is just, again, the peace president, ladies and gentlemen, the president of peace, as he had you believe, as he had his people believe. Once again, the man that has used or committed or engaged in more strikes already in his second term than Joe Biden did in his whole 4 years. Let me see. Trump, I think it was something like 529 strikes. Let me see if I can bring up this article just real quick before we dive into that. I think it was something like that. 529 strikes. Yeah, this is just the first one I see. Trump, this is from Salon. This is a Salon.com article. Put this on the screen. Trump authorized 529 airstrikes in 5 months. That's almost more than Biden's 4-year total. And I believe he's actually surpassed that at this point. Okay? So the president of peace, the guy that, doesn't want to fucking no new wars. Remember that, all that bullshit? So he's lying about ending wars and lying about not starting new wars. But let's dive into, again, this recent story that people are talking about where they had pulled off an airstrike on what is seemingly a tiny, in the grand scheme of things, a fucking tiny, tiny boat. Right, with, again, in the grand scheme of things, a minuscule amount of fucking drugs on it. So let's see if we can check this out.
President Trump announced late today that the United States has sunk a boat after it left Venezuela carrying drugs. It is the first known military strike in the region since President Trump ordered an increased military presence in the Caribbean. Nick Schifrin's following all this, and he joins me now. So, Nick, tell us, what do we know about this strike?
President Trump said that the U.S. Navy operated against that boat that you said that was operated by Tren de Aragua, that has been designated by the administration as a foreign terrorist organization. And the president posted this video on Truth Social this afternoon saying 11 members of the group were sailing toward the United States carrying illegal drugs. And attached to the video, he wrote, quote, "Please let this serve as notice to anyone even thinking about bringing drugs into the United States of America. And
again, this just shows his fucking utter ignorance in this whole situation. Like, do you honestly fucking think that this is going to deter anybody? Do you think these narco drug traffickers from Tren de Aragua coming from Venezuela in fucking boats with fucking bricks of fentanyl, do you think that, like, because one boatload of 11 people were taken out, that this is going to stop all of a sudden their network? They shoot these motherfuckers themselves. They gun down their own people. They'll chop their own heads off. This is nothing. This is nothing. This is, again, I believe, just them showing their fucking weakness or their willingness to pull out the drones and the missile strikes to look like and act like and sound like tough guys in a situation where it's really not called for, when you probably could have had the Coast Guard, fucking intercept this boat, get the drugs anyway, and possibly get some information from the 11 guys on board that could lead us back to, bigger guys, the head people in the ring, which would lead to more drugs being seized, right? Like, wouldn't that be the smarter way to go? As opposed to just blowing these guys off the map so that whatever organization this is can just find 11 more fucking people that are desperate for the money and have absolutely no problem whatsoever getting on that boat to do it again. Right? I'd be careful there, big dog. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on that. But why, if it's on camera, right, if it's being tracked from its fucking point of origin all the way to its destination, Why not just intercept that miles off the coast, wherever the U.S. Territory begins? As soon as they're on U.S. fucking territory, out of international water. Okay, whoop whoop whoop, speedboats, whatever. I don't care how many engines it's got. You'll catch the fucking thing. You'll catch the thing. And then we can, like I said, get some answers, possibly or possibly not. But at least you have at least you save yourself the possibility of going higher up in the chain, of getting more drugs than just what they could fit on this tiny fucking boat. I mean, this is such a ham-handed, like fucking authoritarian, dictatorial way of using power, where it's like, oh, what do we got? We got the fucking, let's hit them with a nuke. Let's nuke the boat. That'll show them. But there's only 11 of them on a fucking 25-foot boat. Well, nuke them. Fucking nuke them. It's like, geez, like, how about we catch them and I don't know, maybe question them and see if they could show us where the factory is that's making the vast quantities of drugs that we see coming in, and we could stop them where it's being processed and catch everybody. I don't know. How's that? I know I'm not a fucking cop, nor have I ever gotten along with police officers in my life. I've never been a big fan of authority in any fucking way. But that's just the way my mind thinks. I'd rather, I don't know, save 11 lives, have them fucking face their day in court, see their time behind bars, get the drugs off the street, which is the fucking most important part, considering most of these mules are incredibly low-level individuals put in these situations out of, desperation, out of, need, out of necessity, or under act of threat because their family's been kidnapped or their kids have been fucking held captive, right? So really, we're not getting that far by killing these 11 people and taking out, again, what is, in the grand scheme of things, a very minuscule amount of drugs that could have very easily have been seized. But let's go on with this video. It's a short one. It's only about 4 minutes long.
Where? Thank you for your attention to this matter. Multiple exclamation points. Now, as you said, President Trump this summer ordered a large Navy and Marine deployment to the area. You see some of the ships there. A Navy official says it includes destroyers, cruisers, as well as smaller ships capable of launching Marines onto shore. And in total, it's thousands of service members, including submarines. The administration describes it as a drug mission and uses the language of war, as Secretary of State Marco Rubio did today.
Oh, and can I just, just another break in here, and I apologize for jumping all over the place, but, since, we're talking about war and Donald Trump's fucking, acting like a powerful, strong, authoritarian dictator. Do you guys remember Donald Trump's military parade that he had on his birthday or whatever the fuck it was there? And it was just embarrassing at every turn. And remember how it was like, there's a reason why the United States doesn't do military parades, even if you were to do it right, because if you're going to do it right, it has to be astronomically big to send the correct message. And that would just be incredibly expensive, incredibly destructive to, the roads in the area, incredibly disruptive to the people in the area. But there's a reason why I said that, if you're going to do it, go fucking big, bust out a nuke or two, at least something, is because, countries are going to do shit like this, right? And this is just a little bit of China. And I want you to close your eyes for a second and just remember from the few clips that you saw or whatever you saw, Donald Trump's, quote, military parade. And then I want you to check this out. And then you'll see why I said, yeah, probably not a good idea unless you're going to go all the fucking way. Check this out. Hold on. Oh, sorry. Let me throw it on the screen. Let me start it over. And I'll make it big. Look how many trucks we got. I'm sure they're all cardboard, but fuck. Look at them all. Look at them all. What's up, Mike? What's up, brother? Appreciate you being here, man. Hope you're feeling well, dude. And again, like I said, I'm sure these are all fucking cardboard, and half of these motherfuckers are probably, I don't know, not even real at all. Whatever. You could probably fucking lift these trucks out of the way like they did in World War II. All right. Well, they had the blow up tanks. But I mean, this is again why, as the United States, you don't do military parades. This is why, because then you got fucking China doing shit like this and making us look like absolute fucking tools. I mean, just the amount of equipment. I don't know what the microphones are for either. And it's very possible that it's AI. Who the fuck knows? You never put it past. But again, look at the fucking trucks, and they have 4 rows. They have 4 deep. You know what I mean? Look at how long it goes for. Jesus. Oh my God. Thank you, Ricky. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Ricky. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate that. It's been a big couple weeks for you, and I really want to say thank you, and it's been recognized and appreciated. I hope you know that. But yeah, and that's just, again, that was just a little aside, I know, but I just wanted to show you why I thought it was pretty foolish, and continuously have been proved right in that aspect as to why we should have fucking either, tucked that one away as a democracy, or gone fucking above and beyond what we should have. Right. All right. Let's take a look at this. And then we got to get into JB Pritzker and his press conference, a little bit of his. We got about a little over a half hour left, and then we'll see what else. I know we had like Laura Ingraham. Megyn Kelly and somebody else to take a look at as well. So let's hop back into Christ, now I forget what I was just looking at. All right, let's hop back into this one.
He destroyed a drug boat that left Venezuela, operated by a designated narco-terrorist organization, which is what these are. And he's been clear that the days of acting with impunity and having an engine shot down or a couple drugs grabbed off.
Yeah, what's funny, too, is, let me see if I can pull up this clip, is J.D. Vance was questioned as to what authority, let's see if I can type this in fast enough. Questions as to authority.
You will respect my authority.
Let's see if I can pull that up. Will that pull it up enough? Pause. Let's see. I'm going to search through the videos. Come on. It's got to be recent. Question to authority. Venezuela. Maybe that'll help. Oh, maybe this is it. Boom. Let me see if this is it. Share this tab instead. Let's see here. I think this is where he's questioned. Let me see if I can play it. Play. Is this a video? Or is it not a video? Well, we can read it, I guess. It says, what legal authority did you operate under to take down a Venezuelan cartel boat, is what the reporter asked of J.D. Vance. The legal authority is that there are terrorists bringing deadly drugs into our country, and POTUS ran on a promise of stopping it next. So right off the bat, you can tell that there is no legal authority that they can come up with, or that J.D. Vance could think of, at least quickly enough to get out of that one. Except for the president said so we might as well do it. No different than Donald Trump as an authoritarian dictator telling everybody that, we shouldn't be allowed to talk about anything other than what he sees as accomplishments, even though that every single one of them is an absolute and total lie. But why don't we take a look at? Let's see. I'm trying to figure out how we could break this up in a way that is. All right, let's go on with this one. Let's just finish out a little bit more of this one, and then we'll go on, because I don't want to jump around too much. My apologies. Here we go.
Off a boat. Those days are over now. We are going to wage combat against drug cartels that are flooding American streets and killing Americans.
Now, that said, regional experts tell me the drug trade is highly decentralized, and fighting it is not usually a military effort. It is traditionally seen as law enforcement. So there are economic tools. There are diplomatic,
the fucking president of peace. All you got to do is take a look at, again, the president of peace. All you got to do is take a look at fucking him, and he's talking about going to war with the cartels. Now he's talking about Venezuela, and I thought this, and I know this is unrelated. I just want to make this very clear. I know this is an unrelated story, and I know this was several months ago. Right. But this says here, this is from the Latin Times. Venezuela says it uncovered a U.S. plot to fabricate incident and justify an invasion. Right. A statement by the Venezuelan army joined that a top official in claiming that a false flag plot was uncovered. And this was having to do with, I believe, an ExxonMobil oil rig or platform. Yeah, this plot seeks to stage an attack on an ExxonMobil platform operating in waters extending into the yet-to-be delimited Essequibo region, with the intention of justifying retaliatory and hostile actions against our nation, Rodriguez said during a televised address. These false incidents are part of a long-standing imperial playbook used to manipulate public opinion and justify unwarranted interventions. So obviously we know the history of the United States and they're getting involved with politics in this region and interjecting themselves into politics in this region. But what's to say, again, that this strike or, the uncovering or whatnot of drugs coming from Venezuela to be used as some sort of false flag, to again be used by Pete Hegseth, the DOJ, the Pentagon, and the military as some sort of reasoning to get behind a military invasion or a military attack against Venezuela to, who knows, maybe, I don't know, seize their oil like Donald Trump always wanted to do, right? Donald Trump really was bugged when we'd go into different regions and we wouldn't steal and rape and pillage and plunder that region as the United States, in order to suck them dry of their natural resources and profit from the war that we ourselves a lot of the times started. But this was something that I found very, very interesting, right? Very interesting that, this was being posted at a time when this strike was taking place. And that, again, just happened to all be at the same time when the Epstein victims were coming out with their press conference. So is it all tied together? Does one thing have to do with the other? Is this all just another big ploy in order to get people talking about anything other than Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump's involvement in the fact that the 33,000 or so pages of files that were released contained 98% information that was already publicly known? Maybe that's something that they're trying to do. Does that seem like something? Venezuelan army on notice, 4.5 million, says Frida. 304 billion barrels of proven reserves in Venezuela. Right, and we've heard Donald Trump. Let's see if I can pull up a clip. Trump. Let's see. How could I type that in? It says he wanted the oil. Maybe that'll pull it up. Let's see here. Is this one of them? Yeah, this might be one of them here. This is from 2019. See if I can get this comment out of there. My apologies. And see if this will play. Is this a video? Yes. Nope, I don't want. Can I at least? Here we go. I'm gonna start from the beginning.
President Erdogan wants to come to the White House. We have a very good relationship. The ceasefire has held very nicely. We've kept the oil. We stayed back and kept the oil. Other people can patrol the border of Syria, frankly, and Turkey. Let them. They've been fighting for 1,000 years. Let them do the border. We don't want to do that. We want to bring our soldiers home. But we did leave soldiers because we're keeping the oil. I like oil. We're keeping the oil, and we're working with the Kurds, and we're frankly working with Turkey.
All right, so that's one incident where Donald Trump talks about keeping the oil in another region. That was, I believe, he was talking about the Syrian, American forces in Syria. It says there, but let me see if I can find another instance just to kind of corroborate what I'm saying here, because I believe there's several instances that we can talk about in which, let's see, this is from 2016. See if I can put this on there for you guys. My apologies. For some reason, the computer's going slow right now. Except what's on the screen. Put this on the screen. Okay, Trump's Take the Oil Madness. Right? This is an article from Brookings. Republican Party presidential nominee Donald Trump has said repeatedly the United States should take Iraq's oil as the spoils of war. With him, it's an old refrain that goes back at least 5 years. So this is from 2016, September 16, 2016. So even 5 years before that. So as early as 2011, Donald Trump has come out saying that we should steal the oil from countries that we've invaded or occupied. Again, this would only go and fit to the story in line of which he's trying to come up with some false flag or some justification to invade or get into some conflict again with Venezuela, right? Because again, you've heard Donald Trump talk about Venezuelan oil and how there's only that one fucking oil refinery in Texas somewhere that can do it, right? So he's very aware that if he were to gain control of the oil, where he could get it refined, even though I'm sure it's it's not that one fucking facility. But just another way that he's trying to profit, another way he's trying to not only profit, but also distract from the Epstein case at the same time, right? And I know I'm running out of time here, so let me see if I can put the rest of what I'm talking about into perspective. There was this that I wanted to cover. We might save this for tomorrow's show, considering we got a show tomorrow as well. I might not try to rush through all of this because obviously I think it's very important. But, this was a sit-down interview that NBC had. Excuse me. My apologies. Extended interview, Epstein, Maxwell survivors and families speak out in exclusive interview. So I wanted to take a look at this. But again, I don't think it's something that we should rush through. So maybe we could take a look at the Megyn Kelly thing, or what else do we have? Trump Epstein hoax. Yeah, we took a look at his clip saying that. We already called that one out. Oh, this is something that I wanted to show. Let me see if this is something I wanted to show. Just kind of. Oh, yeah, but this is kind of off topic, but I guess pertinent, right? Let me see if I can share this instead. This is off topic, but in my apologies for it being so off topic, but I do want to see if I can play this.
At the same time,
I want to start from the beginning.
He was under investigation. He arranged for Hamas to receive.
This is part of an interview. I can't catch it at the beginning. I hate Instagram the way it does it. Once it starts, I don't know how to fucking start at the beginning. You have to let it play the whole time, and then it starts at the beginning again. But this is just a short clip on Instagram, clearly of an interview done or a documentary done describing or depicting just how much money Benjamin Netanyahu allowed to flow into Hamas's arms, into the possession of Hamas, explicitly at the request of Benjamin Netanyahu to Qatar to send bags and bags and bags of $100 bills, billions and billions of dollars. So I'm not sure how far into this is, but let me see if I can pick up here.
Receive $35 million every month from Qatar.
Netanyahu can't give the money by himself.
$35 million a month. Now just think of how much damage you could do. Just think of the weaponry that you could fucking purchase and how stocked and locked and ready to go you could be with $35 million a month. And it goes on here to talk about, how Benjamin Netanyahu clearly couldn't just directly send money from Israel and how he got around it. And again, this is just a quick video, just something that I thought I would, use to highlight our ongoing investigation into the government of Israel, what they're perpetrating, Benjamin Netanyahu, Yoav Gallant as another person. So before we move on, I just want to finish this one.
Israel will not give money to the Hamas. You cannot even transfer this money through banks because even the banks don't want to cooperate. So you, the Israeli Prime Minister, needs to beg this small and very rich country, Qatar, to give money to our enemy.
These suitcases of money was given to Hamas under the request of Benjamin Netanyahu personally. And because the Qatarians knew him from the beginning.
And this is the part that really stands out. The fact that even the Qatari people that were involved in this knew that the government of Israel was so shady and what they were doing was so shady that they needed it in writing from Benjamin Netanyahu and the government of Israel because they knew that they were going to lie about this in the future.
They were asking him to send them his requests in writing because they knew that he's going to lie in the future.
He allowed more than $1 billion to be transferred to the hands of the Hamas because he believed that he can control the level of hatred. It's nonsense. He cannot control the flames.
Mr. Prime Minister, what is your opinion of Qatari money entering Gaza, in case that's too small for anybody to see? Will it help keep the calm in the Strip? He says, I do whatever I can. In coordination with the security agencies to bring quiet back to the towns in southern Israel. Every step has a price, and I want to read this just because he doesn't deny any part of this whatsoever. Every step has a price without exception. When you take steps as a leader, there is always a price. If you cannot handle that price, you cannot lead. And I know how to handle the price.
Netanyahu was all the time helping Hamas to survive.
At the same time that he was under investigation, he arranged for Hamas to receive $35 million every month from.
All right, and that's where we picked up at the beginning. I just wanted to. I know we're running out of time. Sorry to kind of squeeze that in at such a random point. My apologies on that one. But I wanted to make sure that I remembered to play that. We got through the military parade. I showed you that one. All right, so why don't we end on. We got about 19, 20 minutes left. Why don't we end on hearing what this degenerate has to say, because we, as a podcast here, are tasked with calling out the bullshit from despicable people like this, who I believe, haven't heard this yet, but I believe are willing to, again, go on and either demean the victims or try to protect Donald Trump. But let me see if I can throw this. And again, if this is too disgusting or if this is boring, then we can find something else to end on. But I just thought it might be something you were willing to take a look at to see which side of the coin Megyn Kelly lands on after hearing this press conference and hearing what the victims went through and want to see happen. So I'm going to speed it up, ladies and gentlemen, just to see if we can get through a little bit more. Let's go let's do a 1.2 there. Yeah, let's do a little 1.2 and see how much we can get through. Hit that like button. I'm Boston Brian. I really appreciate you. There's a Venmo up here. Send a buck or two. Goes a long way in helping independent media, true independent media. No $8,000 a month being paid to me. I can assure you the fuck out of that one. You can become a channel member for as little as $2.99. You can sign up at Patreon for as little as $5. You can sign up for a channel membership or send a super chat, super sticker, PayPal. All of it helps. I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, all the free stuff. A lot of you guys that are watching right now are not subscribed. I'm not sure why, because you repeatedly come back and seem to enjoy what you're watching. So if you find yourself watching continuously and over and again coming back, and you like what you're seeing in the chat and the people in the chat, and you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It really goes a long way in telling YouTube that you like what you're seeing, and that other people should be engaged in this content as well. So what do you say we get into just a little bit of this? Again, I have absolutely no problems turning this off if, again, it's too disgusting or if it's too boring or anything like that. So what do you say we hop right into it? Let's go.
With a bunch of Epstein victims, or women who say they were his victims. And I'll give you an example. Here's Lisa Phillips.
Right off the bat, she can't even bring herself to not even question the fact that they're victims. Did you hear that one? Listen.
Bunch of Epstein victims, or women who say they were his victims.
A bunch of Epstein's victims, or women who say they were Epstein's victims, right? Again, just putting that little sly bit of questioning in there to kind of detract from what these ladies have to say, because you really can't, you never know for sure, because Epstein's dead and the investigator, like, how we don't know really. Like, fuck you, Megyn. Disgusting already.
And I'll give you an example. Here's Lisa Phillips, who says she's committed to sort of working outside of this process and making sure the truth comes out. Her name is Lisa Phillips again, and it's SOT 50.
Several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names.
Where am I? Am I here? Am I gone? Am I there? This is one of the parts that a lot of people are talking about, where, she threatens here to, put together their own list, which again leads me to be like, well, why the fuck hasn't this happened already? We know you guys have given testimony. We know you've talking to people. And I'm not putting this on the victims. This is all on the prosecutors and the people with the information, right? Because they have a ton of this information, a ton of testimony, a ton of firsthand account with, I'm sure, very detailed names. You're here a bit glitchy. Yeah, it's saying that the Wi-Fi is a little low. Let me see if I can. I'll get rid of a few things up here because I got a bunch open, which is probably not helping the situation at all. But it seems more and more like we're going to have to rely upon the victim's testimony itself in order to put together this list, which I don't think should be that difficult. Again, we should have tons of testimony with tons of names that we could put together. The problem with that being you don't know in which way the names were used, so just the name being in there doesn't necessarily mean that the person is guilty of anything. So obviously further investigations would have to be done, which again, just makes this more difficult than it needs to be. When the DOJ has these fucking files, release them and stop playing with us. Stop playing with these people. All right, so let's go on. I'll rewind this just a second so you can hear the full comment from the Epstein victim here.
Several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that. Because history is watching, and so are the women who will come after us. Thank you.
Okay, so I say good for them. This is like the actual men who are in Epstein's circle. This is their worst nightmare because.
All right, and you know what? I'll give her what she does say. Good for them there. And you would think that somebody that had to deal with something like this would come out in support of these women, right? Megyn Kelly reportedly accuses Roger Ailes of sexual harassment in upcoming memoir, right? So again, at 21st Century Fox announced a settlement in a sexual harassment lawsuit filed by former Fox News presenter Gretchen Wilson, in which she alleged former boss Roger Ailes sabotaged her career after she refused his sexual advances. Come new accusations from Megyn Kelly. The Kelly file alleges that she was subject to Ailes' advances, according to Radar Online. It was published, which claims excerpts from this. Obviously, we know of Bill O'Reilly. What was that, like a $30 million lawsuit or something ridiculous? So if anybody should know what it means to have people get behind this story, it should be fucking Megyn Kelly, right? So, but she ain't out of the woods yet. She ain't out of the woods. Let's see how she finishes this out.
Because not all of them are pedophiles. Some of them just knew Epstein. I mean, I think Trump is in that category. I think Alan Dershowitz is in that category. Eventually, Steve Bannon was kind of in that category.
I'm sorry. I missed what? Wait, what? How did all of a sudden she just get Alan Dershowitz and fucking Donald Trump off the hook in 5 seconds? After commending these women, she's all of a sudden getting people off the hook right away? How did that happen? Hold on. Time out. Rewind. Bloop.
Okay, so I say good for them. This is like the actual men who are in Epstein's circle. This is their worst nightmare because not all of them are pedophiles. Some of them just knew Epstein. I mean, I think Trump is in that category. I think
Wait. This is I'm trying to follow this one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to follow this one. It's a nightmare for who? Hold on, one more time. I'm sorry.
For them. This is like the actual men who are in Epstein's circle. This is their worst nightmare because
the actual men that were in Epstein's circle, this is like their worst nightmare. Okay, so the actual men that were in Epstein's circle. Okay.
Not all of them are pedophiles.
Not all of them are pedophiles. So the men in Epstein's inner circle, the pedophiles' inner circle, not all of them are pedophiles. So that you're going to do.
What? Some of them just knew Epstein. I mean, I think Trump is in that category. I think
no. See, no. There's a big fucking difference between being in Epstein's inner circle and knowing Jeffrey Epstein. All right, let's not fucking get that fucking twisted right now. There's a big difference between, yes, I can point out that there is Jeffrey Epstein, which somebody who has either seen him on television, heard about him in a fucking news article, read about him in a magazine, whatever. Anybody that has probably never met him face to face could do. right? You could pick them out of a lineup. Does not mean you're in Jeffrey Epstein's inner circle, which I believe puts you in a category of being guilty, even fucking without being guilty, right? Like, you're guilty just by association at that fucking point, regardless of what crimes that you took part in. Like, to be that closely involved and associated with somebody you know damn well is openly engaged in pedophilia and sexual acts with children, and you don't do anything to remove yourself from that fucking position of that inner circle, then you are just as disgusting and decrepit and guilty and corrupt as the other motherfucker, in my eyes.
Alan Dershowitz is in that category. Eventually, Steve Bannon was kind of
the guy that he's innocent because he says he kept his underwear on. So she thinks that Donald Trump is in the position of being in Jeffrey Epstein's inner circle for almost 25 years, right? Years after which the public became aware of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. His membership was still open and active at Mar-a-Lago. His being Jeffrey Epstein's membership to Donald Trump's club at Mar-a-Lago, still open and active, even after Donald Trump was brought to Donald Trump's attention that Jeffrey Epstein was stealing young girls from the spa at Mar-a-Lago. Years after that, even after all of fucking that, was still best friends with the man, telling him how great the relationship was, what a stand-up guy he was, how he likes beautiful women, some just as young as fucking he does, right? Praising him as a great guy, fantastic guy. But you want me to believe that somehow he's on the inner circle, but not guilty of anything? Not a sicko? Not somebody that should be fucking held to account? Come on, Meg. God damn. It's fucking gross and embarrassing that you even remotely stoop to this level to defend against people like this, especially after what you've been through.
in that category because he was advising Epstein to some extent after he got in trouble. I don't think these people did anything wrong morally, in terms of the girls, but
nothing wrong hanging out with a pedophile, being best friends of somebody that is in conducting the world's largest sex trafficking ring of fucking pedophiles involving underage girls with the most high profile clientele, thousands of which have fucking are heads of state, heads of companies, heads of corporations. Oh, wow. Let me get that one more time. I get so mad sometimes I end up forgetting what they said.
These people did anything wrong morally.
Yeah, nothing wrong morally. So being in the inner circle of the world's most prolific pedophile, even after his crimes have become public, that doesn't show anything against you morally. That doesn't show anything against your character or your judgment or the fact that you clearly have no principles. Like, how is that even fucking possible that, like, morally it's not wrong to be friends with a pedophile even after you know he's a fucking pedophile, even after you know he's taken women, underage girls that were illegally working at your spa at Mar-a-Lago. Even after that, you still praise the guy as being a fantastic fucking guy. But that doesn't say anything against you morally, according to Megyn Kelly.
Of the girls, but if the list is now up to the survivors of like who was in his orbit a lot, because the real officials won't tell us the names of those who have been actually.
Well, guess fucking what? Guess what, Meg? Guess what, bitch? You got one fucking person to blame for that. You got one motherfucker that you could blame for the fact that now some of these names that are going to be coming out might actually not have committed any of the fucking crimes that others are accused of, but they're going to get wrapped up in this thing. You know how Donald Trump's been saying, like, I'd love to release these, but, there's some names in there that, people are going to get their reputations hurt and things are going to happen. You don't want that. Well, guess what? That's exactly what the fuck's going to happen now, because you won't and you refuse to release the actual files, giving us the actual names of the actual people accused of these crimes. So guess what? People now have to fucking guess. People now have to fucking wonder and fucking sit down and try to figure out what's going on and listen to the victims. And some people are going to get fucking wrapped up in this when they may well have been in the background trying to help people, whatever the fucking case may be. right? But you only have one motherfucker to blame for that, bitch. And that's Donald Trump, because he's the one person in power right now that has the ability to release the actual files, which would put to rest anybody that's in there. It would make it very clear anybody that's in there are named for reasons other than engaging in sexual activity or helping, facilitate any of the crimes, right?
Accused of bad actions. I'm not surprised the women are taking control of the situation. And I think this is going to be an even worse outcome for men who are potentially innocent of wrongdoing. But your thoughts on it?
It's very interesting because one of the journalists asked them, well, can you give us a preview of some of the names on the list?
I'm sorry, I don't know who is it. Oh, Batia Ungar Sargon. I've heard the name before, not familiar. Is she a politician or is she a reporter? I'm not familiar with her. I'm not familiar with her work.
And they declined to do so because they're worried about getting sued, which I think is a good thing, right?
I guess I should have just waited an extra 2 fucking seconds. She is the host of Batia on News Nation. I'm not familiar with it.
Don't want people randomly naming people who haven't done anything wrong. I will say I thought the most interesting thing that happened was that the lawyer seemed to dispel the myth that there was a big pedophile ring. And what I mean by that is he was very clear, and he said at one point to one of the in the Q&A portion of the press conference, he said, let me be very clear, Jeffrey Epstein personally abused all of these women for his personal gratification. And then, and here's the key point, Megan, he said when they reached a certain age, he then did farm some of them out to some of his friends, which to me, I don't know if you agree with me, but it does seem to suggest that he was interested in them when they were underage. And then when they reached a certain age, one of them even said when she got too old for him, he kind of...
And again, we didn't reach the questioning part of the interview or the press conference here. So I'm not clear as to what question she's talking about. I would venture to guess that she's either taking it out of context or she's misrepresenting the answer in some way, some form. But again, I can't be clear. But it makes absolutely no sense to me that the lawyers representing the victims in this case would go up there and in any way try to get Jeffrey Epstein off the hook or anybody else involved in this off the hook in a way where they say, yes, nobody was involved when they were underage, but only in some cases where they found out. I'd have to, would have to go through this. And like I said, tomorrow's show, maybe we'll go through the questioning portion of this where they answer questions. Yeah, let me see if I can get to it real quick. Is this maybe this one?
Donald Trump gave you help in 2009. Can you elaborate on your interactions with Donald Trump in 2009? For any of the victims, they didn't ever see the president, but then not the president yet, but they never see Trump with Epstein in any way.
I don't know who's. I don't think that we can answer that question.
So
Did anybody see Trump with Epstein?
I'm not going to try to dig through it now and try to find that, but maybe tomorrow on tomorrow's show, we'll go just through all of the questions that they were asked and see if we get any information. Because again, I have nothing. I haven't seen it to corroborate or given an accurate argument against what Batia is saying here. But again, I'm more than willing to bet that she's somehow either misrepresenting it, or she's misinformed, or she's doing it purposefully, or it doesn't make any sense, right? Oh, sorry. Let me put this one back on for you guys. Here we go.
He kind of kicked her out. And at that point, he would introduce them to his friends, which does seem to suggest that those friends are not actually implicated in pedophilia and possibly not even in anything criminal. Now,
no, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Are we really trying to suggest now that receiving, even if they're not underage, girls that have been groomed by a pedophile while they were underage, but just because they've turned 18 in the meantime and are still being held captive and being sold, traded, and bartered for, like, just we're going to suggest somehow that that's still not engaging in the whole ring, in the whole fucking trafficking, in the whole the whole kit and caboodle, regardless of the women's of the girls' age or women's age, if they are above the age of 18. Like, we know that there are cases of people above the age of 18, but we also know that there are many cases of girls below the age of 18. So to even suggest suggest that it's fucking so horrendously disgusting to even suggest that because Jeffrey Epstein supposedly, allegedly, again, we're just going by what this woman is saying here, and trying to break it down that way, but to even suggest that because Jeffrey Epstein allegedly waited until the girls were of age to start pimping them out and farming them out to these other clients, that the other clients weren't engaged in criminalities is fucking insane. Is insane to try to let these people off the hook, to be like, well, I know they knew that Jeffrey Epstein was engaged in pedophilia against this girl, and I know he'd been grooming them for years, and I know they're pretty much held captive by Jeffrey Epstein, and I know he's kind of only shipping them out now because they're pretty much past their prime as far as Jeffrey Epstein's fucking age range is concerned. But yeah, I paid him for it, or I gave him an apartment, or, I gave him the Mercedes, or I gave him this, or gave him that, or some deal, or some fucking investment in this or that in return for this lady. But she's of age, so I didn't do anything wrong. Like, who the fuck do you think is going to believe that shit? Oh, fuck, I'm out of time already? Again? Damn, time flies when you're having fun. Knocking the shit out of fucking stupid Republicans. Like fucking Megyn Kelly is stupid, bitch. All right, I won't keep you too long. I know this is the late show, so we'll save a little bit for tomorrow's show. What do you say we get through everybody that contributed either through Venmo or PayPal? The Venmo is right up here at the tip of my finger. At the tip of my finger, you can take a picture of it with your phone. Right, takes you right to the Venmo. Again, I don't ask for much. A buck or two goes a long way. If all roughly 400 of you people watching right now were to give $1 just to go how long and how far that could go. And if we did that every show, how much we could build. And we wouldn't even need Chorus or Brian Tyler Cohen or David Pakman to do it. And it seems like that story's growing too. Seems like that story hasn't gone away. What seemed like corrections were just merely what looked to be some tactics used in the media where you don't give a statement before the report goes out, but once the report goes out, you issue a statement, so therefore the people have to issue an update, right? But I haven't seen much to try to refute the entirety of the case. Again, regardless of what you think about the person that wrote it, I don't give a fuck. From a piss hole in the snow, I don't give a fuck. What I care about is the actual facts of the matter. And it seems like more and more people are diving into that and have their opinions on it. But all right, let's see if I can get into the old Venmos, the old Venmoritas. And then I'll get you. Oh, you guys are amazing. You guys are fucking amazing. Thank you, James. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Roxanne, Claudia, Linda, Damon. JD, as always. Let's see here. Let's see. Anthony and Tori. I appreciate. Those are the latest people that have been kind enough to whip out their phone, send a Venmo of $1 or $2. In most cases, more than $1 or $2, and I appreciate all of you guys for doing so. But what do you say we take a look at the people that gifted either through memberships, milestones, super chats, super stickers, because that all helps, guys. It fucking really, really helps. It's quite literally the only way that the lights stay on, the fucking food stays in my fat ass belly. And I can continue to do this is with your love and support. So I appreciate you, like people like Nora Dez, who on a fucking continuous basis are here to support and uplift this channel with generous contributions, either with memberships, I love that even more because it helps somebody else out in the chat too, right? So it's not just I don't have that selfish nature of just something that's helping me, but this also goes to help somebody in the membership, in the chat that's didn't have the ability to get a membership, now can have the perks and the ability to be a member for a month. And I would very much advise you guys, if you do get gifted a membership and you find yourself sticking around afterwards, to re-up on that membership. I promise it's less than $3 a month. $2.99. If you're willing to go even a level above that, we have patreon.com/Boston Brian, in which we do Zoom calls every single month where we can talk face to face for a little bit of time, get to know each other a little better. It goes a long way in me helping to put a face behind your screen name. And, we just kind of shoot the shit a little bit, talk about the dogs, the weather, whatever the fuck. All right. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Noah Des, and thank you, Jerry. I want to show this clip as well. Fuck, now what I do with it? Did I exit out? Oh, what a dingleberry. Did I? Let's see here. Oh, hold on. No, because I wanted to play this clip. I don't know how the hell I did that. I don't know how I exited out. Give me 1 second, because it was just in regards to Ukraine. See if I can bring this up. My apologies. Thank you so much, Jerry, for reminding me of that. I had it up. I think I closed it. That's what it was. I closed it when everything was going slow for a second here. Let me see if I can find it real quick without making you guys wait. But I think today Trump was questioned about his handling. Oh, yep, it was from Anna from Ukraine. Let me see if I can pull up her. Put this on the stage for you guys. And we'll go through. I think it was one of her recent posts here. Let's see here. We're explained September 2nd, September 1st. Was it Anna from Ukraine? Maybe it wasn't. Or was it Kate? Maybe it was Kate from. I get them mixed up all the time. Kate from Kharkiv and Anna from Kharkiv and I don't know. Kate from Kharkiv and Anna from Ukraine. Fuck. Kate from. Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is. I knew it was one of these two. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get to the top. I don't know why they always do that. They stop me at the friggin' middle all of a sudden. And I'm pretty sure it was today. Here, let me see. I'm gonna refresh this one. Let me refresh. I'm gonna do the refresh, please. My name is Kate. Okay, that's her pin post. Let me see if we can go down here, because I'm pretty sure it shouldn't be that long ago. Not that. Okay, here we go. Was it that one? And just let me make sure that was the only one. Trump rambles. Let's see here. Stop the invasion. Stop running Ukraine. We have stopped. All right, here's the one I was talking about. So I'm going to stop it. Just a minute long. And again, this is just going to show where Donald Trump actually believes he's putting the pressure, right? Where, stopping the money, making them pay full price. This fucking rhetoric that he's putting on Ukraine is, again, far stronger and more harsh than anything he's saying about Vladimir Putin, who, again, is continuing to kill Ukrainian civilians night after night after night, while Vladimir Putin's, extensions and deadlines run out, while Donald Trump does absolutely fucking nothing. So, yeah, check this out.
Soldiers and Ukraine soldiers, right? Not American soldiers, not soldiers from Poland, but they're human beings, they're souls. They have parents, they wave goodbye to their parents, and their parents never see them again. That's the end of them. Over a stupid war. And I want to see it stopped. Now, we have stopped the money we send weapons to NATO, they pay full price. We don't, Biden spent $350 billion.
No, he didn't.
So stupidly. And it was one of the reasons that this whole thing happened. A big reason this war happened was sitting right in these chairs.
A big reason that the war happened is the fake price that you say that Biden contributed to the war after it had already started. Go ahead. Make sense of that one. I dare you. I guarantee you'll end up cross-eyed.
There's this one in particular. So I will tell you that I think we're going to have a good solution, but they're losing soldiers at levels that nobody has seen since the Second World War. This is the worst conflict, and it's just going on and on. It's one's defense, one's up.
Says the guy that continuously gives Vladimir Putin more and more deadlines, more and more time in order to commit his atrocities, to commit more soldiers to the Pokrovsk area. It's so fucking ridiculous that the only pressure that he's putting upon any country is fucking is upon Ukraine. And he says it more here. Check this out. Ready? He goes on. And this is the last one, then I'll get you guys out of here.
I have a power to end things. That's why I was able to end 7 other wars. You know that I thought of
7 other wars we already clearly debunked. My apologies. 7 other wars that was clearly already debunked. I'll see if I can even put that. I think I emailed myself the article here. I'll drop this in the copy link address. I'm going to drop this in the chat that you guys can take this down. This is about him ending those wars or not ending those wars. So if you guys need that in any of your debates or any of your conversations, you have that readily available. But yeah, we don't have to go on with this asshole. Let me see if I can get back to the people that I was thanking. We got through Nordez, we got through Jerry. We're on to Patrick. Thank you so much, Patrick. I appreciate you, brother, as always. That goes for Wes as well. Thank you, Wes, for the $7.77. Mr. Ray Bork in the house. Thank you so much. Joe Lee, thank you so much for your loyalty. Thank you so much for your membership for the last 8 months. I really appreciate that. Oh, my God, Jennifer, thank you so much for the Venmo, showing my support for one of the good guys. Love to Mel and Logan. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I really appreciate that. Let me say thank you to that one. Let me give that a heart. Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's very, very nice of you. Very kind of you. That goes for JD as well and James. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Who'd I miss? So we went for Jolie. Thanks for the membership to Patrick. So make sure you're reaching out to the people that if you're getting gifted memberships, just like Jolie did. Thank you so much, Jolie, not only for being here for so long, but also for thanking the person that gifted you the membership as well. Thank you so much for the Nickel Sisters. Let's fucking go. I love the new name. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Danny. I appreciate you guys. Tell Tegan and everybody I said hello. Make sure the cats are nice and fed as they always are. And I hope everything's going well with you guys. I can't wait to see you guys in the next Zoom. I really appreciate your support as always. Thank you so much, Tobias, for 18 months of support. Let's fucking go, dude. Let's fucking go. I knew you were an OG when I seen it. I seen it in you. I did. I appreciate you, Tobias, a lot, dude. And fucking let's go. $20 on top of it with the super sticker. I appreciate you so much, fucking dude. Let's go. I really are. We're going to take this fucking thing to the moon, regardless of how long it takes, regardless of how slow the roll is, regardless of how hard it is to get you guys to hit that fucking subscribe button. We're going to get there. I don't know why you watch all the time if you're not going to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, like, share. I promise the free stuff helps so much. Drop all the emojis you possibly can in the chat. Send it out to people that aren't watching. You know, there's a lot of people in a lot of these other chats that I go on to the shows that you guys are involved in that still haven't made the way over here. So let's see. Let's try to build our progressive community. We have fantastic people on like Chris Cluey, Michael Fanone, Harry Dunn, Steve Ketman. We've talked to Denver Riggleman. So fucking politicians. We've talked to hopefully we're going to get Ken Casey on. We're hoping to set something up with Jessica Denson. We're hoping to set something up with Kat Abaguzela. That would be fucking awesome. How awesome would that be? Really, happy to get behind what she's doing in Illinois. I was really passionate and pumped to get behind what Chris Cluey is doing here in Orange County. So let's keep this ball rolling, and the more subscribers that we gain, the more notoriety we get, and the easier it is to get a lot more of these bigger names onto the platform, onto the channel, onto the podcast, because it is, you got to realize when these people see an email from Boston Brian at Blunt Politics, something they've never heard of, and they look and they see, 12,000 subscribers, it really doesn't jump off the page as something that they need to attend. Right. So I'm hoping to change that. And it's only with the help and the generosity of you guys through Venmo, through memberships, through Patreon. You guys really are the backbone. The memberships and the Patreon are the backbone of this community. Without you guys, I am nowhere fast. I am fucking panhandling on the side of the next and nearest road. If it weren't for my G's and my homies on Patreon and the members here on YouTube. Thank you so much. We still haven't figured out the whole Twitch monetization thing. So I'm not even monetized on Twitch. Literally the only channel I'm monetized on is YouTube. So it's not like I'm fucking raking it in here. Chorus, hey, give me a buzz. But thank you, Tobias. Thank you, JD. I appreciate you as always, not only for the 5 gifted memberships that 5 lucky people will receive in the chat, but also for your continued support through the profanity bonus. I appreciate it. Midas Cam, let's fucking go. Those of you who don't know, I am a Midas Touch contributor. I got to step up my game and doing those videos. But those of you who want, you can check out over on the playlist at Midas Touch, search up Boston Brian. It should pull up all of my videos. Go check those out and support me there. Jay Steinheimer, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. I appreciate that, brother. Hope you're having a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. It means a lot. It really does. So thank you so much. Thank you, Carl. Let's fucking go, Carl. 18 months seems like just yesterday, he says. Well, it wasn't. It was 18 months ago. Yesterday. I appreciate it. I hope you and Piper are doing well. I appreciate you. One of the OGs in here. So I appreciate you, Kyle. Thank you so much. And for your amazing contributions. Let's fucking go. Took the training wheels off. Here's to another 18 months. I appreciate it, Kyle. I can't wait to see when that says 36 months. I'll be very, very appreciative when it does. Cadillac, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate you. Very cute dog. Please give the pup a treat for me and say hello. A couple belly rubs for me would go a long way, I promise. This was Treva. Thank you so much, Treva, in response to the fly over there that we were talking about. So thank you so much for that information, Treva, and also the $3 super chat. I really, really appreciate it. It goes a long way. Again, even $1, like I say, bust a buck and try your luck in supporting the independent media. That's truly what I mean. I want to spread the burden throughout the community. So not any few people are having to step up more than others, right? So if everybody was to do $1, just think of how long that could go on and be sustainable while not taking too much of a toll on any one individual person. But again, that would be socialism, right? That would be socialism. So thank you, Treva. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you, buddy. Just popped in. Y'all good? No Kings protest October 18th. We will be sure to make sure that we get that out there and make sure that people know about that. So thank you so much, Jeff, for the $5 and the information. Thank you, Ricky. Let's fucking go, Ricky. 10 gifted memberships is so huge. I appreciate that. You've been so kind and generous over the last couple of shows, last couple of weeks, I should say. So literally from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Ricky. Again, the 10 gifted wasn't enough. You had to pop in with a $10 super chat. A little late getting here. Carry on with the Shanghai Summit. Love to everybody. Well, Ricky, I hope you have a good one. Was that backwards? A little late getting here. I thought you were starting off with a little pig Latin or something. But I appreciate you, Ricky. I hope you have a good night. Thank you so much. And I will see you tomorrow for the show. Sinful Solutions, thank you so much for being here for 7 months. Let's fucking go. No, don't thank me. I thank you. That's how this works. And I appreciate you. I really, really do. And thank you, Laurie, as always. Thank you for being here for not only 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 months, but fist bump right back at you. And thank you for all that you do. I appreciate it. And I promise I know you've been here for a lot longer than 5 minutes. JD, keep Ryan off toilet duty. Please, yes. Don't make me go back to the toilet. To the toilets. I appreciate you, JD. Thank you so much. Ricky, you guys are literally, this group is single-handedly keeping me my face out of toilet. So what JD said, no more potty duty from Brian. Thank you so much, Ricky. I appreciate you guys. I really, 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 really do. And that goes for JD again as well. You guys, again, fucking the team that you guys to form up, man. You guys are forming up to create a really formidable team here. So fuck it, profanity bonus. Thank you, JD. I'm going to have to start giving them back. You're swearing more than I am. Hal Sparks sent me, says, Brian, thank you, B-Man. I appreciate that. And thank you, Hal. Thank you also, Trucker John. Thank you all of you guys who are continuously sending people to other chats, which I recommend everybody does. I always say if it's not me that gives you the most bang for your buck, make sure you're supporting any of the fantastic creators we have in our space. Make sure that, they know that you appreciate what they're doing, the time and energy that they put into all of this. And there are so many great creators, both male and female, that we could talk about. So make sure you're supporting whoever floats your boat, because we like to keep boats floated around here. So thank you, Bri. Thank you, Hal. I appreciate it. If you're watching, dude, thank you for everything that you're doing. Thank you everything that you continue to do. Thank you, Bethany. I appreciate the super sticker, dear. Thank you, Susie, as well, for the super sticker. You two are amazing. I appreciate you so much. I'm the James I know who you are, Jimbo. I know who you are. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Look forward to seeing you in the next Zoom. Bethany, again, 12 months of support. I appreciate that, Bethany. Thank you so much for 1 year of support. Being here for a year means a lot. It really is a big milestone, and it really goes a long way in showing how passionate and supportive you are of not only democracy, but independent, progressive media stations like this one that rely upon your help in keep it going, really. So thank you, Bethany, for all of your support. Thank you, Bride. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Nordez, as well. You guys are amazing. For the profanity jar from Rosanna. Thank you so much, you two. You guys are amazing. You really are. You two are. And I wish you a life of happiness and joy. I hope that I can help create a society that gives you guys the best ability to create the best life possible. So, and I will be very honored to have you guys share that with me in the chat. So thank you to both of you for the work that you do in not only my chat, but everybody else's as well. And thank you, Jenny Faye, to round it out for 11 months. Look at me, almost a full year. Proud Bryantologist. Feels like longer than that. Not going to lie. I feel like I would have guessed like an 18-monther out of you, Jenny Faye. But I appreciate not only your support here on YouTube, but your support on Venmo as well. You guys, it means a lot. It really does. It goes a long way. I know it probably sucks to continue to hear. I know it's probably boring. I know it probably, pisses you off, and it's annoying to hear people talk about how they need money and how donations and this and Venmo that and PayPal this. And believe me, as a viewer of YouTube, as a chatter myself, I understand that part sucks. But I also understand that doing this as a full-time gig, doing this as a career, doing this as your job literally requires that you do things like that. And especially if you're not taking ad revenue, especially if you're not, taking sponsorships or selling you guys fucking toothpaste or bed sheets or mattresses or green juice or whatever the fuck, then I am literally 100% dependent upon you guys. If the YouTube members, if the Patreon members, if you guys were to go away tomorrow, then I would go away tomorrow. I would no longer be able to sustain this. So I just hope you know how much that I appreciate your continued support. And when I told you guys at the beginning that you guys were going to literally watch this channel grow in front of your eyes, I hope that that's exactly what you've seen, not only with, the setup, but also with the production, with the content, with the information that you're getting. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm not going to keep you any longer. I appreciate you very much. I'll see you tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific here on the West Coast. And we'll dive deeper into Epstein, Donald Trump, Venezuela, whatever pops up in the meantime. And we'll call that bullshit out. But until then, make sure you're finding your nearest protest. Find your nearest rally. We got a No Kings protest coming up again in October per the chat. So we'll be talking about that a lot. But get out there, stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive. But keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you're staying safe out there. Until next time, I'm Boston Brian. This has been Blunt Politics. Hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe on the way out if you have not already subscribed. I implore you to do so, please, if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing. Again, I will see you tomorrow. Hit the bell. The notification bell tells you when I'm going live. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. I'll see you tomorrow. Continue kicking ass, ladies and gentlemen. We will take this down, and we have the momentum going into midterms, I assure you. So I appreciate you, and it's only with your fight that we're going to win and continue to win. So let's fucking go, guys. I appreciate you. Peace. Thank you, mods. Thank you, Rock. Thank you, Tiff. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Lokita. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you guys. Sorry if I'm missing everybody. Jennifer, thank you guys. You're the best.
You're drunk. You're drunk.
Oh, get those lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off.
How do you lie to the FBI and now you're running for president? Seriously, how do you lie to the FBI and now you're running for president?
I don't know. And I also don't know how you can forget to hit one button at the end of the show every single fucking time. Let's try this again.
Refer to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
The population in Thailand is 63 million people. It is twice the size of Wyoming. Its chief exports are textiles, footwear, and rice. Each year, approximately 13,000 people are killed in car accidents in Thailand.
My superpower is being honest. I will eat my neighbors. Cacophony, a crescendo, a finale, a coup de grace. I'm just an average guy who read public documents where the elite said they were going to enslave us and destroy America, and I'm not going to be like yuppie scum and deny the threat to my country. I'm going to fight back.
Is there anything worse than white people? White people are a mortal danger to you and your loved ones.
Army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Go fuck yourself.
Good night, guys. Thank you again, mods. I'll see you tomorrow, 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, all right? Hit that like on the way out. Appreciate you.
They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated?
Yes, of course, hence the name. Movement, it moves a certain distance, then it stops, you see? The revolution gets its name by always coming back around in your face. You tried to kill me, you son of a bitch. But welcome to the revolution.
It feels so lovely to be here tonight. What a beautiful, give yourselves a round of applause. You're so lovely, everyone's so lovely.
He builds the wall the way he built Trump Towers, he'll be using illegal immigrant labor to do it.
Always calling me Little Marco. And I'll admit, the guy, he's taller than me, he's like 6'2", which is why I don't understand why his hands are the size of someone who's 5'2".
China has total respect for Donald Trump and for Donald Trump's very, very large brain.
Get off my plane.
Taking him back to Nevada where he's wanted for banging horses.
No, get those lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off.
dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
I can just tell you that a con artist is about to take over the Republican Party and the conservative movement, and we have to put a stop to it.
I mean, they've been conserved since the time of lobsters, right? There weren't trees around when lobsters first manifested themselves on the planet.
When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitchers, I guess you could say, in really particular. The big, fat, sloppy United States.